Jiang Ming has just discovered Linglong's impossible breakthrough, a feat that defies the very laws of cultivation. As he unlocks the secrets of spatial travel in the system's new training zone, a challenge is issued that will shake the foundations of their sect. Leave a like and subscribe to walk this path. Jiang Ming was shocked when he realized it was his junior sister who had cut down the old man's primal spirit. He would not be so surprised if her cultivation base was really high. After all, with a high cultivation base, one would have to comprehend the spatial Sambodha and the derivative of spatial Sambodha. However, with her current cultivation base, when did she have the time to comprehend these Sambodhas? Even the most talented cultivator needed more than 3 months to raise his or her cultivation base from the Golden Core realm to the Tao Seed realm while comprehending the spatial Sambodha. If his junior sister truly managed to achieve such a feat, then she was truly remarkable. Swoosh! Jiang Ming called up the human path records. Name: Linglong. Gender: female. Cultivation base: Tao Seed realm. Background: disciple of Zhuyang sect's Chuyang Peak. Relationship: 95. Innate talent: immortal. Intermediate phoenix bloodline. Status: after coming out of Yun Tianlong's secret tomb, she ran into 2 devil cultivators and killed them. Then, after she ran into the flood dragon Bai Haishan and his people, Bai Yu suddenly appeared. After Bai Yu killed Bai Haishan, she watched the battle between Bai Yu and Jiang Ming, who made a sudden appearance. When she sensed the aura of a Primal Spirit cultivator, she hurriedly hid in the void. When the Primal Spirit cultivator's Primal Spirit was trying to flee, she cast her special ability and quickly ended his life. My junior sister is really impressive. She's able to hide her presence from a Primal Spirit cultivator. Is this the power of the Phoenix bloodline? Thank you, Senior, Linglong said as she placed her hands in front of her and bowed. She was standing quite a distance away from Jiang Ming, amazed and slightly fearful of the strength of the person standing in front of her. She was certain the person in front of her was in the Tao Seed realm. However, the mana he possessed was even greater than that of a Primal Spirit cultivator. She had never met someone like him before. Not only that, but his physical strength and power were one of the strongest she had seen of people with the same cultivation basis as him. Why don't I remember anything about him from my previous life? This is impossible. I'm sure there isn't such a person in Qingyun's sect. What's his purpose? Why wasn't he known in my previous life? Linglong could not find any answers despite how hard she racked her brain for answers. She sighed inwardly as she thought to herself, even the softest gust of wind can stir up a storm and bring about great destruction. Fate truly works in an unpredictable and mysterious way. In any case, I'm still too weak. I have to spend time exploring all the other secret tombs that have yet to be found. And then there's that place. I have to go to that place and obtain the things there. While countless thoughts raced through Linglong's mind, Jiang Ming flicked his sleeve and said, "Don't mention it." After collecting the spoils of his battle, he thought about it for a moment before he decided against giving them to his junior sister. After all, he did not gain these things through righteous means. At the same time, he briefly wondered if he should reveal his identity to her, but quickly dismissed that idea. He was not the strongest yet, so until then, he had to be very careful. "You should leave now. There are people watching," Jiang Ming said as he glanced into the distance. There was someone observing them from afar. However, since he was not very strong yet and he was alone, he decided not to pursue the matter. After saying that, he turned around and left. Meanwhile, Linglong stood with her hands clasped in front of her as she looked at the figure that was slowly disappearing into the distance. Then, she left the area as well, still confused. After traveling a distance away, Jiang Ming sensed his junior sister had left using the void so she would not leave any traces behind. With that, he sighed in relief. Then, he called up the human path records and read it as he flew back. The Infinite Alchemy Pavilion in Zhong Province. This sacred land was located among the mountains. One of the mountains, which was more than 5,000 feet tall, towered above the clouds. From a distance, it looked like a cauldron. The peak of the mountain was constantly spitting out fire that reached 1,000 meters high. People could be seen around the fire from time to time, and without an exception, all of them had very powerful auras. Many palaces could be seen at the peak of the other mountains. They were all without fail, majestic and glowed with a divine light. It was not hard to deduce that these were the residences of powerful people. At this moment, a thunderous cry rang from one of the palaces. "Holy Lord, the Holy Sun's soul token has shattered. The 4 men are dead, and even Zhang Fan, his guardian, is dead." "What? How's that possible? Who dares to kill him? Who's capable of killing him? Are they trying to wage a war with the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion? Holy Lord!" Before Elder Zhang Fan met his demise, he sent a message with his Primal Spirit saying it's the Qingyun sect. The Qingyun sect. Indeed, Xiao Yu was in the eastern region. In that place, only Qingyun sect has the guts to do something like this. The Holy Sun is our pride. Killing him is tantamount to trampling on our pride and dignity. Since they want war, we'll give them war. Pass on my order. We're going to the eastern region. We're going to annihilate the Qingyun sect and conquer the eastern region. Soon after, a wave of terrifying energy erupted one after another from the palaces in the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion. One of the people who had gathered was so strong that he could even tear the void open with his bare hands. Following that, a sword appeared in his hand before he vanished into thin air. It did not take long for news of Baiyu's death to spread in Zhang province. The holy son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion was killed in the eastern region? How dare they kill the holy son of Zhang province? They must have a death wish. I'm going to show the eastern region what we're made of. Who's with me? Me. I'd like to meet the cultivator in the eastern region who managed to kill our holy son. Although Baiyu was sinister and ruthless, he's one of the few who could represent Zhang province. Killing him is tantamount to slapping our faces. Let's go! The Infinite Alchemy Pavilion won't sit back and do nothing either. It's highly likely the two sacred lands will go to war. How can I not join in the fun? I'll bring the 99 fairies from the 100 Flowers Chamber to entertain everyone during our trip. Following that, news of Baiyu's death quickly spread to the northern, southern, and western regions as well. This was big news since the holy son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion was a prominent figure. Not only did he possess the Heaven Overlord body, but he was also the strongest among the younger generations in the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion as well. Everyone had high expectations of Baiyu. In the future, no one doubted he would become the Holy Lord of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion. He was very famous in Jiang province. He was not as strong as the older generation yet, but he would have surpassed them in the future. It was unfortunate that he had died before he could realize his potential. Zhujiang sect in the eastern region. Jiang Ming was unaware of the storm that was brewing in the horizon as a result of him killing Baiyu. After arriving at Zhujiang sect, he returned to Chuyang Peak. At this moment, he stood on the rooftop and gazed into the distance, thinking about the earlier battle. My mana is greater than that of a Primal Spirit cultivator. My body is also stronger than the Heaven Overlord body. I should have been able to deal with Zhang Fan, who was in the Primal Spirit realm, swiftly, and yet it took me such a long time just to deal with him. I think the problem is that I didn't comprehend my special abilities enough. Jiang Ming had a lot of powerful special abilities. However, he had yet to comprehend and master them completely. For example, he had only comprehended the Great Akasa Formless Sword Key and the 9 Divine Mountain Treasures to the rudimentary stage. These two were his strongest special abilities. If he had comprehended them to the mastery stage, it would have been like a walk in the park to kill Zhang Fan. I should focus on comprehending these two special abilities when I'm comprehending the Sambodhas, especially the Great Akasa Formless Sword Key. There were 3 stages to the Great Akasa Formless Sword Key. First, there were the invisible energy swords. When they fused with the void, they would be invisible and silent. However, their speed was very fast. One would be considered to have mastered this stage once one was capable of manifesting 9 energy swords. The second stage was to fuse all 9 energy swords into one. With that, it would be able to travel through space and kill an enemy that was thousands of miles away in just an instant. The third stage was strengthening the energy swords until they were capable of piercing through the void. Once I fully comprehended this special ability, I'll be able to master the space Sambodha as well. Senior brother!
See, Linglong called out.
Her eyes were as bright as the moon as she threw herself into Jiang Ming's arms like a fledgling that had just returned to its nest. Cultivation Method, Grand Path Almighty Method Sutra Spell, Primal Spirit Heart Sword, 10,000 Sword Technique, Basic Formations, Basic Talismans, Basic Pills, and Basic Artifacts. Special Ability, Great Akasa Formless Sword Chi, Great Akasa Steps, 9 Divine Mountain Treasures, Great Manifestation Technique, 9 Heavens Imperial Lightning, Wood Dragon, Slice the Heavens, Heaven Suppression Divine Seal, Threefold Astral Transformation, 9-Layer Cannon Orbital Sword, Formation Innate Talent, Immortal. Primary Taoist Body Item, Human Path Records, Life and Death Disillusionment Formation Disc, Mana Sealing Chessboard, Top Grade Tao Vessel, Tyrant Halberd, Middle Grade Tao Vessel, Sky Rending Sword, Middle Grade Tao Vessel, Heaven Shattering Hammer, Low Grade Tao Vessel, Golden Obsidian, Low Grade Tao Vessel, Heaven Suppression Cauldron, Top Grade Tao Vessel, 3,000 Years of Cultivation, Enlightening Tea Leaf X13, Enlightening Stone X80, Space Stone, Immortal Grade Enlightening Tea Tree Seed. Jiang Ming was relieved now that his junior sister had returned. At this moment, he was lying on the rocking recliner and admiring the starry sky. His junior sister lay next to him with a smile on her face as she rocked the recliner. Meanwhile, their master Gu Hai stood at the top of the main building with his hands clasped on his back as he gazed into the distance. Yang Ming and Gu Hai did not ask about what happened to Linglong over the past 3 months. After all, she had just returned, and they had plenty of time to ask about it in the future. At this time, Jiang Ming was also going through the spoils of his battle with Baiyu and the old man. He was rather surprised when he looked through them. He did not expect the mana sealing chessboard to be a top-grade Tao vessel that was incredibly rare. However, he was even more surprised when he discovered that the chessboard did not increase the owner's physical strength at all. It was only now that he realized Bai Yu was bluffing. Clearly, Bai Yu was trying to intimidate him with his lies. The mana-sealing chessboard only had one function. It could pull one's opponent into it to duel using only their physical strength. One would not be able to leave until someone died. There was no limit to the number of people that could enter the chessboard. Jiang Ming shook his head. The person who created this must have something wrong with his head. Not only would the mana-sealing chessboard not enhance its owner's strength, but it would not even protect its owner. All it did was pull people into it for a life-or-death fight. Perhaps for others it might be useless, but it was quite useful toward Jiang Ming. After all, even he did not know the limits of his physical body and strength. Jiang Ming nodded in satisfaction. Thanks to the Grand Path Almighty Method Sutra, there was not much he needed to do, but his body would constantly be tempered. Apart from that, his body would undergo a transformation whenever he comprehended a Sambodha and formed a Tao seed. If he had to guess, he would say his physical body and strength were not any weaker than his cultivation base. The mana-sealing chessboard is rather useful to me, Jiang Ming thought to himself after various ways to use the chessboard appeared in his mind. Look, system, the spoils of my battle are much better than the rewards you give me. Alas, he did not receive a response from the system. Apart from the mana-sealing chessboard, sky-shattering hammer, golden obsidian, heaven suppression cauldron, and other items, he was most satisfied with the sky-rending sword, which was a middle-grade Tao vessel. After all, neither purple cloud nor blue crystal could handle the power of the great Akasa formless sword chi. For this reason, the offensive strength was greatly reduced. However, with the sky-rending sword, the problem was solved. The 108 swords Bai Yu had used to form his sword formation were all artifacts from a complete set. As expected of a holy son from a sacred land, he was really wealthy. Just his possessions alone are enough to make me rich. With his possessions alone, I'm afraid no one in Zhuyang sect is as rich as I am. Needless to say, he obtained many medicinal pills, spirit crystals, rare items from Bai Yu as well. Apart from that, he also obtained 3 special abilities from Bai Yu's storage ring. The first one was called the threefold astral transformation. At the first stage, one could increase one's height by 333 centimeters and double one's strength. At the second stage, one could increase one's height by 666 centimeters and double one's strength again, which was 4 times stronger than before. At the third stage, one could increase one's height by 999 centimeters and double one's strength again, which was 8 times stronger than the original. Unfortunately for Bai Yu, he had only mastered it to the first stage. Otherwise, Jiang Ming would have to expend more strength to kill him. The second special ability was the 9 heavenly cannons. When Zhang Fan had used it against his 9 divine mountain treasure, it was capable of destroying his divine mountain with just a strike. The third special ability was the orbital sword formation. Bai Yu had used 108 swords to form the formation, and Jiang Ming had been rather impressed. All in all, with these 3 special abilities in his arsenal, his attacks would be more versatile. Jiang Ming continued to absorb the cultivation he received from the daily reward. However, he did not use the 3,000 years of cultivation yet because he planned to use them when breaking through to the next realm. Jiang Ming was not in desperate need of mana. What he needed was more special abilities and to comprehend the Sambodhas. He had been using a lot of the enlightening tea leaves. However, since he was rewarded with them daily, he still had 12 left. As for the enlightening stone, he had yet to use any of them. At this moment, Linglong turned to her side and rested her head on her hands as she looked at Jiang Ming. Then, she said, "Senior brother, home is the best place in the world. I feel safe here." "Of course. There's no place better than one's home in the world," Jiang Ming said with a smile, "so don't simply run away from home again, understand?" All right, Linglong replied with a giggle. The duo continued to chat. Jiang Ming was delighted that his junior sister's treatment of him did not change at all, even though she had broken through to the Tao Seed realm. In other words, his junior sister still loved him very much, and no one could take her away from him. When the sky began to brighten, Jiang Ming got up and began to prepare breakfast. This time, he served breakfast on the rooftop. They ate their breakfast while they enjoyed the gentle morning breeze and the beautiful mountain scenery. "This is delicious, senior brother," Linglong exclaimed before she continued to say, "While I was away, the thing I missed most was your cooking." "All right, I'll prepare food for you, and you keep them in your spatial ring before you leave the mountain next time. With that, you'll be able to eat the food I make even if you're away," Jiang Ming said affectionately. "You're the best, senior brother." At this time, Gu Hai, who had been keeping quiet all this time, put his chopsticks down and asked, "What about me? Why do you talk as though I've never taken care of you before?" "Master, I'm talking about food," Linglong said with a laugh. "After so long, you've only cooked for us a few times." Jiang Ming chimed in, "Master, I don't mean to be rude, but your cooking is really unpalatable." "So what, didn't I still manage to raise both of you?" Gu Hai scoffed. Then, his expression suddenly turned solemn before he said, "Tell me about everything that happened." Linglong nodded. She began by recounting how she and the other disciples ran into devil cultivators before she was separated from them. She said that accidentally stumbled upon a secret tomb while she was running away. Since there were many treasures in there, she decided to spend her time cultivating there. Her story was simple. She did not tell her master about her encounter with Bai Yu or Bai Haitian, the flood dragon. She did not want her master to worry about her too much, after all. After listening to Zi Linglong, Gu Hai exclaimed in shock and disbelief. What? You've entered the Dao Seed realm. That's amazing, junior sister, Jiang Ming exclaimed, trying his best to look surprised. Thank you, Linglong said, grinning from ear to ear. Then, she brought a medicinal pill out and handed it to Gu Hai as she said, Master, this is the Divine Purple Mansion pill. I heard you damaged your Purple Mansion in the past. Perhaps this pill might be able to repair the damage. The Divine Purple Mansion pill. Gu Hai's eyes widened in shock. His hands trembled as he reached out to take the pill before he asked, Are you sure this is the Divine Purple Mansion pill? Zi Linglong nodded. I'm sure. Up until now, this medicinal pill only existed in legends. Many people had searched for it, but they couldn't find it. I didn't expect my disciple to find it in the end. This is a blessing. I really didn't make a mistake accepting you as my disciple. Thank you so much, Linglong. Gu Hai said as he laughed happily. Don't mention it, master. Without you, I wouldn't even be sitting here. Very good, very good. Linglong, you've grown up into a fine young lady, Gu Hai said, please. However, his tone turned solemn as he continued to say, however, apart from the sect master and a few first seats, don't tell anyone about your current cultivation base. Why? Linglong asked as she tilted her head slightly. Gu Hai sighed before he said, it's a long story. Do you remember Momo? As it turns out, she's a spy from Bishui sect. To think she's been with us for such a long time and the Bishui sect has just moved to High Province. How long were they planning for this? In any case, we don't know if there are other spies in the sect, so it's best to maintain a low profile. You might attract jealousy and hate if you reveal your cultivation base. You managed to break through to the Dao Seed realm after cultivating for only 3 months in the secret tomb. We really can't let anyone about such a heaven-defying feat. Huh? Senior sister Momo is a spy? But Linglong sighed heavily. After a moment, she nodded and solemnly said, You're right, master. I'll make sure to keep my cultivation base a secret. Inwardly, Zi Linglong thought to herself, this is strange. Why did she get exposed so early? Jiang Ming asked. Do you know of any technique to conceal your cultivation base? Yes. I learned a special ability that can help me conceal my cultivation base. I'm confident that even cultivators who are 2 realms ahead of me won't be able to detect my real cultivation base, Zi Linglong replied. That's great, Jiang Ming said. Then, he turned to Gu Hai and said, Master, I think it's enough that the sect master knows about junior sister's cultivation base. There's no need for anyone else to know. After all, the more people who know about it, the more dangerous it'll be. Take the 3 of us, for example. We're like a family, and there are no secrets between us. Although some of the first seats are trustworthy, I'm afraid they won't guard against their disciples and will reveal junior sister's cultivation base to them. At that time, the matter won't be a secret any longer. You have a point. We're really similar. You're just as cautious as I am, Gu Hai said as he stroked his beard. This is all thanks to your teachings, Jiang Ming replied. Linglong only lowered her head and chuckled. The trio discussed for a long time before they finally agreed on a plan. Apart from the sect master, they were going to keep Zi Linglong's cultivation base a secret from everyone. You should also remind the sect master to keep it a secret. We need to make sure Linglong has a safe place to cultivate until she breaks through to the Primal Spirit realm where she can finally protect herself, Jiang Ming said. You're right. That's very thoughtful of you, Gu Hai said as he nodded. Warmth suffused Zi Linglong's heart when she saw how much the duo cared and worried about her. After a moment, she brought out a few porcelain vials and items and set them down the table. Then, she said to Jiang Ming, Senior brother, these are pills that can help you form your core and expand your purple mansion. This armor here is a low-grade artifact. You can use it for the time being. Once you've broken through to the golden core realm, I'll find you another armor. As for this bell, it's a top-grade artifact. It's very suitable for you, and Zi Linglong continued to hand one item after another to Jiang Ming as she spoke. Jiang Ming looked at her with his mouth agape, stunned. Initially, he planned to refuse her gifts, but when he saw her expectant gaze, he swallowed his refusal and accepted them with a smile on his face. Gu Hai was equally stunned. He said, clearly jealous. So this is how it is? You forget about your master when your senior brother is present. That's not true. Linglong smiled sweetly. She brought a piece of armor out and handed it to Gu Hai as she said, This is for you. It's a middle-grade artifact. Middle grade? Gu Hai was stunned again. A piece of defensive armor was far more precious than a weapon of the same grade. Even the sect only had 2 of such items. When he regained his senses, he shook his head and said, Keep it for yourself. After all, you'll still be going out to train. I'm sure the armor will come in handy. Don't worry, master. I already have one, and it's much better than this one, Linglong said. Even if you have a better one, you should still keep it. It's always good to have extras. What if your armor breaks? Moreover, you can don 2 armor for extra protection. I rarely leave the mountain, so it's not very useful to me. Master, you have to accept it. Consider it a small token of appreciation from me, Linglong said. Jiang Ming chimed in. Master, just accept it since senior sister is so sincere. Jiang Ming was aware of his junior sister's strength and cultivation base, and he knew what kind of tomb she had stumbled upon. Hence, he was certain she possessed many treasures. As for why she did not bring all of them out, it was likely because she thought his and their master's cultivation bases were not high enough. Possessing treasures when one was weak would only attract trouble, after all. The trio chatted and laughed as they finished their breakfast. Congratulations on having a harmonious breakfast. Reward, the great Akasa divine hand. Jiang Ming's eyes lit up upon hearing the system notification. Another one from the great Akasa series? It must be a powerful technique. First it was a sword technique, second it was a movement technique, now it's a palm seal technique. I wonder if there are fist techniques and primal spirit techniques as well. This is really exciting. While Jiang Ming was doing the dishes, Gu Hai released a flare of light into the air. Before long, the sect master appeared on Chuyang Peak. The duo kept their heads closed as they chatted. When the sect master learned that Linglong had broken through to the Dao Seed realm, he was shocked. He was very tempted to laugh out loud but restrained himself in the end. Following that, he instructed Gu Hai to keep the matter a secret so that Linglong could cultivate in peace. His thoughts were in line with Gu Hai and Jiang Ming's. He had high expectations of her, and she was one of the candidates who were set to lead the Juyang sect. He decided to tell everyone that she injured herself while she was out, so she was going to heal her injuries and cultivate in seclusion. After he was done giving his instructions, he prepared to leave. Although the sect master did not ask Linglong about the secret tomb, Linglong still brought a medicinal pill out and handed it to him. This is the spirit rejuvenation pill? The sect master was shocked. He stared at the pill longingly. Although he really wanted the pill, he resisted the urge to keep it before he said, Linglong, this pill is very useful in helping one form the primal spirit. You should keep it for yourself. After reaching the nascent soul realm, you can use it to enter the primal spirit realm. Sect master, I still have a long way to go before reaching that realm. You're the backbone of our sect. You have to become stronger so that we disciples will be able to cultivate without worries, Linglong replied. See that? My disciple is not only lucky and talented, but she also has a great personality, Gu Hai said proudly as he lifted his chin slightly. A big smile could be seen on his face as he continued to say, you heard what she said. You should accept the pill and become stronger so you can continue supporting the sect. In the end, the sect master no longer refused the pill. He lamented, I didn't expect I'd be given such an opportunity from Chuyang Peak, and the person who helped me the most is your disciple. Fortunately, I had foresight and supported you back then. Otherwise, I'd miss out on a golden opportunity. As soon as the sect master's voice fell, the formation at the entrance of the sect shook, and the alarm resounded through the sect. Someone is attacking our gate. The sect master's expression turned grim. No matter who it is, they can't have come with good intentions. Gu Hai, look after them. No matter what happens outside, don't leave. If the worst happens, bring them with you and leave the sect. Gu Hai inhaled deeply and nodded. Following that, the sect master rode on a puff of cloud and vanished from sight. Linglong furrowed her brows as she looked in the direction of the sect's entrance. Meanwhile, Jiang Ming, who had heard the alarm, leaped up to the rooftop. His eyes glowed with a divine light as he looked past the formation to see what was going on outside. He saw a woman glowing with a green light hovering in the air in front of the gates of Juyang sect. She was stunningly beautiful, but her expression was frosty. When she lifted her hand and pointed ahead, the barrier around Juyang sect shook again. It looked as though it was going to shatter at any given moment. Subsequently, she cocked an eyebrow before she brought out a blue sword. With a single strike, she tore an opening in the barrier and stepped into the sect. Upon seeing this, everyone from the Juyang sect who were present, whether they were first seats, elders, or disciples, was stunned. Tearing the barrier and entering the sect without permission was no different from trampling on the sect's pride and dignity. Jiang Ming's expression darkened as he saw this blatant invasion. Swoosh! He called up the human path records. Name Mu Shuiyun, gender, female, cultivation base, primal spirit realm. Background, elder of the Qingyun sect. Relationship, 0 and 8 talent, 9 stars, water spirit body. Status, she was once the holy daughter of Qingyun sect. She was abducted by a flood dragon and lost her chastity. When she returned to Qingyun sect, she was stripped of her title due to her pregnancy. She lost her mind when her son Mu Lei was killed after visiting Juyang sect to propose to Linglong. When she found the base of a devil sect, she had a huge battle with them. As a result, she was injured. After she recovered from her injuries, she continued to grieve the loss of her son. When she recalled the woman who had rejected her son's proposal, she was overcome with rage. She couldn't accept that her son was dead while the woman who rejected is still alive. As such, she came to Juyang sect to capture Linglong with the intention of burying Linglong with her son, Mu Shuiyun. Jiang Ming said through gritted teeth as he narrowed his eyes. You want to bury my junior sister with your son? Dream on. At this time, Linglong and Gu Hai came to Jiang Ming's side. Linglong stood in between Jiang Ming and Gu Hai as she mobilized her mana and gazed into the distance. The sect master appeared, holding a sword in his hand. His face was flushed red from anger as he said, Taoist Shui Yun, what's the meaning of this? As the sect master spoke, the sword in his hand buzzed and thrummed, causing ripples to form in the void. At the same time, a barrier was forming in the sky. A few first seats, Dongfang Li, Yu Cheng, and Yin Yu, appeared one after another and moved to stand next to the sect master. Their expressions were all dark. My son Mu Lei took a liking to a girl in your sect, Mu Shuiyun bluntly said. Hand her over to me. How dare you? The sect master growled. Not only did you trespass into my sect, but you even dare to demand I hand my disciple to you. Mu Shuiyun, do you really think Juyang sect is a place where you can come and go as you please and make unreasonable demands? Even if you're from the Qingyun sect, this is too much, Yue Cheng snarled. Damaging our formation and trespassing into our sect are a declaration of war. Swoosh. The white-clad Hao Chen, the first seat of Shaoyang Peak, wore a frosty expression on his face as he held onto his sword that was buzzing. As he launched an energy sword into the sky, 9 suns rose at his back, distorting the void. His eyes brimmed with killing intent as he stared at Mu Shuiyun. With that, the other first seats began to mobilize their mana as well. I represent no one but myself, Mu Shuiyun said as she looked at the people in front of her contemptuously. I admit I'm a bully, but what can you do about it? I'll ask you one more time. Yan Yan, are you going to hand that disciple over to me or not? If you refuse, Mu Shuiyun paused briefly. A cruel smile appeared on her face before she said, I'll tell the world that Juyang sect is colluding with the devil sects to conquer the eastern region. At that time, everyone will have the right to attack the Juyang sect. The devil's base we found thousands of miles away from here is the best evidence. Are you sure you want to drag everyone to hell for the sake of one disciple? Although the Juyang sect was much weaker than Qingyun sect, Juyang sect was rather popular in the eastern region. Even a Primal Spirit cultivator would not dare to trespass into Juyang sect. After all, the Juyang sect had more than 1,000 years of history and possessed an ancient formation that protected the sect's estate. There was also a group of highly skilled and experienced elders. However, Mu Shuiyin was not just any cultivator. Not only did she have a high cultivation base, but her background was special as well. Moreover, she no longer cared about anything else but avenging her son at this moment. Hence, how could she be afraid of the Juyang sect? Upon hearing Mu Shuiyun's threat, the sect master laughed in anger. Mu Shuiyun, if anyone's colluding with the devil sect, it'd be you. So is that a no? Mu Shuiyun asked frostily. The Dao sword in her hand burst forth with light. Get lost, the sect master barked. You asked for this, Mu Shuiyun hissed. She raised her sword and launched a powerful strike at the sect master. The sect master lifted his hand, summoning a cauldron in front of him to block the attack. Alas, he and the cauldron were sent flying back. Hao Chen, the first seat of Shaoyang Peak, felt his killing intent surged. Along with the other first seats, he charged at Mu Shuiyin. Unfortunately, as powerful as the 7 first seats were, they were no match for Mu Shuiyin. Mu Shuiyun brandished her sword with her right hand while she conjured the Heaven Suppression Divine Seal with her left hand, sending the 7 first seats flying. All of the first seats had blood at the corners of their lips except for Hao Chen. Among the first seats, he suffered the least damage from the strike. Mu Shuiyun was too strong. She was once the holy daughter of Qingyun sect, after all. Regardless of her cultivation base and special abilities, she still had a certain advantage over those from the Juyang sect. When the sect master was about to draw power from his body to activate the formation again, a formidable energy burst forth from Taiyang Peak. Following that, a figure appeared in front of Mu Shuiyun. The newcomer raised his hand and cast a formation, sending Mu Shuiyun flying. Old man Huo, you're still alive? Mu Shuiyun exclaimed in shock and disbelief. Scram, the newcomer, an old man, barked. His eyebrows and beard that were fiery red were a match for his fiery temper. He pointed at Mu Shuiyun as he roared. I'm not going to repeat myself. Get lost or I'll kill you today. I want to see if Qingyun sect will avenge your death once they know what you've done. Mu Shuiyun scoffed coldly. Old man, do you think you can kill me? You overestimated yourself too much. Is that so? The old man mobilized his primal spirit, and the 9 peaks began to shake. A beam of divine light shot out from each peak into the sky, merging with the formation before turning into 9 suns. At the same time, a terrifying energy surged out his body, boosting the strength of the formation tremendously. The old man sneered. "What do you think? I've lived for a long time and I have no qualms dragging you to hell with me. How dare you? Little girl, you might not care about your dignity, but what do you think the Qingyun sect is the same as you? Now get lost." "Very good. I won't forget about this Zhuyang sect," Mu Shuiyun said through gritted teeth. Then, she turned around and left when she saw how determined the old man was. After Mu Shuiyun left, the 9 suns vanished from sight. Then, the old man turned around and swept his eyes across the crowd before he said with a sigh, "This is a world that belongs to the strong. It's unfortunate, but we can only grow stronger and stronger by devouring the weak. For example, if the devil's sects are powerful enough to rule over everyone, they'd become the rule. Little Yan, you need to grow stronger, otherwise the future of Zhuyang sect will be at stake." "Master," Yan, the sect master, called out as his expression changed slightly. "Don't worry, I still have quite a few years left in me," the old man said as he waved his hand. The sect master and the others bowed as the old man flew back on Shuyang Peak. Guhai looked in the old man's direction and bowed as well. Jiang Ming was silent. He was overwhelmed with the urge to sneak out and kill Mu Shuiyun. However, he knew it was not wise to do that. After all, if Mu Shuiyun died so soon after leaving Zhuyang sect, the sect will definitely be implicated somehow. Moreover, Mu Lei and Kachangqing had also died not long after they left Zhuyang sect. "Just you wait, Mu Shuiyun," Jiang Ming thought to himself as he suppressed the urge to leave. Then, he looked at Gu Hai and asked, "Master, who's that old man?" "He's the founder of the sect," Gu Hai explained. "In the past he was known as Hua Doran. He's Zhuyang sect's trump card." Yang Ming nodded. Inwardly, he called up the human path records. Name Huo Doran, gender male, cultivation base, Primal Spirit realm. Background, founder of Zhuyang sect. Relationship, 60 innate talent, 9 stars, flaming sun body. Status, his time's almost up so he's been sleeping in a coffin. He was woken up earlier when he sensed a strong burst of energy. When he realized the sect was facing a powerful enemy, he risked losing his life force and made a move. After scaring off the enemy, he returned to his sleep after sealing himself in the Forbidden Land. His time's almost up, Jiang Ming sighed inwardly. When he saw the relationship value at 60, he knew it was because he was a disciple of Zhuyang sect. The flaming sun body was special and ordinary at the same time. Jiang Ming sighed as mixed feelings brewed in his heart. Just an elder from Qingyun sect was enough to throw Zhuyang sect into chaos. He and the sect still had a long road ahead of them. "Master, is it that place?" Jiang Ming pointed to the only undisturbed place in the sect. It was none other than the Forbidden Land. In the past, Gu Hai had refused to speak about that place to his disciples. This time he nodded. Then, he said, "It's also the formation of the sect." Gu Hai paused briefly before he asked, "What did both of you learn from this incident?" Linglong replied, "Power is everything. As long as you're strong enough, you can do whatever you want. We need to grow stronger to protect our sect." Then Jiang Ming added, "She's only an elder of Qingyun sect, but she alone is enough to throw the sect into chaos. Moreover, even if we complain to Qingyun sect, it's likely they won't do anything to her." Gu Hai nodded. "Very good. Linglong, although this isn't your fault, we can't deny that it's related to you. Don't worry, the sect has no intention of abandoning you. Keep this in mind. Cultivate diligently so you'll grow strong enough to protect our sect." "Of course, this is my home after all," Linglong said as she pointed at the ground beneath her feet. After a moment, Gu Hai left his 2 disciples alone. "I was worried they would hand you over to Mu Shuiyun," Jiang Ming said. "After all, she's not only a primal spirit cultivator, but she's also from the Qingyun sect." "What if the sect decides to abandon me?" Linglong asked in a low voice. "I'll take you away, then I'll find a chance to kill her." Yang Ming replied without any hesitation, "You're the best, senior brother." Linglong exclaimed as she hugged his arm. She was smiling so widely that her eyes were narrowed in Taiyang Peak's main hall. The atmosphere was gloomy, the first seats were gathered, but they were all silent. After a while, the sect master took the lead to say, "I have 3 things to announce. First, I'll be sending a letter to Qingyun sect, demanding an explanation for Mu Shuiyun's actions. Second, recall all our disciples who have yet to return to the mountain. Then, we'll close the sect. Forget about the devil sects for now. Third, I'll be going into seclusion to break through to the Primal Spirit realm. Qingyun sect. You may be the sacred land of the eastern region, a place where all cultivators aspire to join. However, I won't let you have your way in a mountain range." A divine light illuminated the sky and the ground. Every peak in the mountain range was connected to one another by rainbow bridges. Various divine beasts flew in the sky from time to time. Apart from that, many palatial buildings were erected on the mountain range. Zhuyang sect truly looked shabby compared to this place. At this moment, a tear appeared in the void before 2 people walked out from it. One was a burly old man with a head of silver hair holding a huge hammer in his hand. The other person was a young man with an androgynous appearance. He was wearing the sun god robe. The duo was so powerful that as soon as they appeared, their immense auras suppressed the law of void. The old man lifted his hammer and wordlessly brought it down. With that, the void shattered, and the clouds within 10,000 miles were blown away. The formation of Qingyun sect automatically erected a barrier as soon as the old man brought this hammer down. Light burst forth in many places across Qingyun sect as various laws appeared around it. Boom! The hammer fell again, shaking the sky and the ground. The barrier creaked as though it could no longer withstand the attack. At this moment, another old man appeared. He lifted his hand to block another attack before he roared, "Old Tai, why are you attacking Qingyun sect? Do you want a war?" "That's right. I came to wage a war, you son of a bitch," Old Tai replied. Then he flung his hammer out at the old man. At the same time, he shouted, "King Shuzi, you killed the holy son of the infinite alchemy pavilion, so I came here today to destroy your sect." Old Tai raised his hammer before he brought it down with all his might. In just a blink of an eye, he had hammered down 9 times consecutively, injuring the old man from Qingyun sect. The explosion of energy each time he brought the hammer down rippled out and even caused many disciples in the vicinity to explode into mists of blood. At this point, no one knew how many people he had already killed. Kung Fuzi was enraged by the deaths of his disciples. The anger in Old Tai's attacks caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. As he resisted Old Tai's attacks, he growled, "Old Tai, stop being so childish. You better stop this. Neither I nor my Qingyun sect is afraid of a war with the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion. You better have a good explanation for your actions today." Old Tai stopped attacking for a moment as he glanced at the mists of blood that still hung in the air as he said, "This feels great." Then, he looked at King Shuzi and said with a sneer, "Your Qingyun sect killed Bai Yu, the holy son of our Infinite Alchemy Pavilion, yesterday night while he was looking for a fortuitous encounter in the eastern region." King Shuzi immediately denied the accusations. "Impossible. The holy sons and holy daughters of sacred lands are representatives of their respective sacred lands. As such, no one from my Qingyun sect would kill your holy son. Moreover, we have no conflict between us. Why would we kill your holy son?" Old Tai, with the resurgence of the devil sects, "I'm sure this is the devil sect's doing. They're trying to sow discord." Old Tai's eyes burned with the flames of fury as he growled, "Fuck the devil sects. You think I'm making baseless accusations? Look at this." Old Tai waved his hand, and a projection appeared in midair. It replayed part of the battle yesterday night. Although the rippling void and burst of energy obscured the view slightly, one could still see the battle between two figures. Old Tai continued to say, "Look at how the man cast the heaven suppression divine seal. Wood dragon sliced the heaven and the 9 heavens imperial lightning with ease and speed. All these are special abilities unique to the Qingyun sect, right? By the way, this battle was extracted from the memories of a man watching the battle from afar. How can you still deny this, Qing Shuzi?" Qing Shuzi watched with his mouth agape, baffled. Various expressions flitted past his face as he fell deep into his thoughts. Finally, he shook his head and said, "Old Tai, you know that it's not impossible for special abilities to leak out." Old Tai sneered, "You're still denying? I don't care. Hand the man over and we can still negotiate. Otherwise, I won't stop my hammer from falling again." King Shuzi smiled wryly. "Is there a need for me to lie? This is clearly an attempt to frame my sect. Fine, I'll send you to hell then," Old Tai said before he decisively attacked. At this time, the red-clad young man standing next to Old Tai prepared to assist Old Tai. He summoned a crimson sword in his hand. The sword's appearance instantly drew the energy from the sun, raising the temperature immediately. King Shuzi defended against Old Tai's attacks as he asked, "Old Tai, don't you believe me? Who would?" Old Tai retorted. His attacks did not slow down at all. Meanwhile, many elders were awakened from their cultivation. They looked at the battle from afar, clearly not worried. They were confident of the strength of their sect, which was the strongest in the eastern region. They believed they could hold their ground even if all the experts from the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion were here. Moreover, they had lived for such a long time that they knew it was unlikely for a war to break out between two sacred lands. At most, they would have to compensate for the loss. They understood that venting anger, throwing accusations, killing, and compensation were all parts of the process for cases like this. Moreover, it was just the death of a holy son. At most, the compensation would be a little more costly. The impact from the battle was felt for quite a distance. Even the people from Zhuyang sect could sense the fluctuations. On the rooftop in Zhuyang sect's Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming sensed the mild fluctuations of energy in the void, and his heart skipped a beat. This kind of fluctuation can only be the result of a battle in Qingyun sect. Perhaps they're fighting with the experts from the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion. I hope they fight each other to the death. In any case, this has nothing to do with Zhuyang sect, and I can cultivate in peace. At the same time, Jiang Ming noticed Linglong glancing in the direction of the battle as well. He could not help but smile. Linglong peeled a grape and sent it to Jiang Ming's mouth before she asked, "Senior brother, why are you happy?" "I'm happy because of your high cultivation base," Jiang Ming replied. Then, he reached out and took the bowl of grapes in front of Linglong as he said, "Let me do it." Linglong refused. "No, I want to do it. I'm not disabled. I can do it," Jiang Ming said. "Just let me do it. You used to feed me all the time. Now it's my turn." "Open your mouth, senior brother," Linglong said as she fed Jiang Ming another grape. After eating the grape, Jiang Ming said, "I'm just worried you'll use too much strength and knock my teeth out." Linglong snickered in response. "Little girl, you're so disrespectful." Linglong smiled as she reached out to pat Jiang Ming's head and said, "You're just a few years older than I am. Moreover, seniority in our sect is based on our cultivation bases. Since my cultivation base is higher than yours." She paused to giggle before she continued to say, "You should address me as senior sister from now on." "Impudent. Do you believe I'll spank you?" "Senior brother, don't forget my cultivation base is higher than yours. You better not provoke me. Otherwise I'll make you cook delicious food for me all day long," Linglong said jokingly. Jiang Ming only chuckled in response. After a moment he said, "Oh, that's right. Do you remember the rice wine I told you about during the last harvest? It's ready now." "Really? Hurry up and bring it out. I want to try it," Linglong said excitedly. "What did you say you'll do if I provoke you?" Jiang Ming asked. "Senior brother, I apologize for my earlier words. Can you not use so much strength?" Linglong asked as she turned around with her butt facing Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming spat out the grape in his mouth when he saw Linglong's round and plump bottom. When Gu Hai returned in the evening, he told Jiang Ming about the sect master's instructions. Jiang Ming sighed. "So we're going to seal the mountain. What about Hai Province?" After all, Hai Province had been invaded by Bishui sect and was on the brink of being conquered. Gu Hai sighed before he said, "There's nothing we can do about it. That crazy Mu Shuiyun came determined to seek revenge, but she was forced to leave. Do you think she'll let the matter go considering how petty she is? She's like lurking outside waiting to kill our disciples." "What about those who have yet to return to the mountain? The elders who went out to search for Linglong have returned. We're rather certain she won't attack the other disciples due to their low cultivation base. That's a relief." After dinner, Linglong left to cultivate. Yang Ming stood on the rooftop and gazed into the distance. When he called up the human path records, he discovered that Mu Shuiyun indeed did not go far. She was about 3,000 miles away from the sect. Clearly, she had not given up. Then, he turned to look in the direction of Qing Yun's sect. He was certain Mu Shuiyun had already sensed the fluctuations of a battle from Qing Yun's sect, so he could not help but wonder why she did not hurry back to Qing Yun's sect. In the end, he came to two conclusions. 1. She was afraid of death, and 2. She was too consumed by seeking revenge. Jiang Ming did not dwell on this matter. He felt it was a waste of time. Instead, he began to cultivate. After all, his survival is dependent on having a high cultivation base. After checking on the life and death disillusionment formation plate disc that was buried underground, he sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. He planned to learn 2 of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion's special abilities, the threefold astral transformation and the 9 divine cannons. After only a night, he managed to comprehend them to the rudimentary stage. Since Zhuyang sect was located quite a distance away from Qingyun sect, they only heard some rumors and had yet to hear about the final result of the battle in Qingyun sect. All they knew was that the battle leveled thousands of mountains, damaged formations, and dried up the lakes. Although the destruction was not small, all in all, the Qingyun sect did not suffer too many losses. More than a month passed in just a blink of an eye. In the evening, when the sky was dyed with the colors of burnt orange, crimson red, and dark blue, Linglong lay on Jiang Ming's lap as she rested her legs on a stool. She stared at the sky as she said, "How great would it be if there were no disputes in the world?" Jiang Ming replied, "As long as greed remains, so will disputes. If you want to live a carefree life, you can only cultivate diligently until you gain absolute power." "Senior brother, you're really wise." "Of course. I have a few more years of experience compared to you after all." "Yeah, but my cultivation base is still higher than yours." Jiang Ming cleared his throat and said, "Can we stop poking at each other's shortcomings? At the very least, I'm in the foundation establishment realm now." "That's not enough, senior brother. Why don't I transfer some energy to you?" Linglong asked. "What's the point? I'll only increase my mana, but it won't help me break through to another realm," Jiang Ming said as he shook his head. "I've read books about how we can raise our cultivation bases through sexual cultivation techniques. Shall we give them a try?" "What kind of nonsense are you reading? Stop reading those kinds of books and focus on cultivating from now on." "Okay, hey, you know about Sambodhas, right?" "Yes. Senior brother, do you want to comprehend them earlier?" "That's right. Apart from natural wind movement, I wonder if we can comprehend wind Sambodha through wind induced by burning wood. I think so. Why do you say so? Wind Sambodha is one of the easiest to comprehend since you can comprehend them through natural wind movement or wind-related special abilities. However, to comprehend it through wind induced by the burning of wood, you'll have to comprehend the fire Sambodha and the wood Sambodha first. The 5 natural elements are wood, fire, earth, water, metal, and water. It's already difficult to comprehend one elemental Sambodha, so it's even more difficult to fuse 2 Sambodhas. I see. In fact, you can try to convert natural energy. For example, extreme yin can be transformed into extreme yang and vice versa. Although they're conflicting, they're also interchangeable. It's often said that water represents yin and fire represents yang, but that's not true. Fire has both yin and yang, and the same goes for water, wood, earth, and metal. The 5 elements form the base of all things, and yin and yang is the source of all things. Hence, there's a saying that the 5 elements can form all things, and yin and yang can rule the world. What about space and time? Yin and yang, the 5 elements, space, time, nature, death, reincarnation, karma, and so on are energies at the same level. However, most things in the world are the results of a fusion of energies. For example, a grain of rice contains the elements of water, earth, and wood. Then, there's also lava, that a fusion of fire, earth, and water. Are these energies difficult to comprehend? Of course. As Jiang Ming listened to his junior sister, he discovered her explanations were easier to understand compared to Master Dao Yan's detailed explanation on human cultivation realms. The duo continued to talk until darkness fell, the moon rose in the sky, and the gentle night wind made its appearance. Jiang Ming called up the human path records and was surprised by what he saw. Hence he said to Linglong, "Alright, you better return to your room now. I'm going to cultivate." "Alright, senior brother. Don't push yourself too hard. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me," Linglong said before she left. Alright. After Linglong vanished from sight, he turned his attention to the human path records. Name, Mu Shuyan race. Human gender, female cultivation base, primal spirit realm background. An elder of Qingyun sect. Her anger and hatred intensified, so she was no longer content with burying the bitch who rejected her son. She wanted to bury the entire Zhu sect as well now. She's lurking about 3,000 miles away but hasn't found an opportunity to act. Due to her son's death, she's indifferent to the battle in Qingyun sect. Moreover, when she heard about the death of the Holy Son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion, she laughed madly. It did not take long for her to learn about the chaos and the deaths of countless disciples due to the battle between 2 extreme path experts. Apart from insisting the Qingyun sect hand over the murderer, the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion also demanded a formal apology and 2 top-grade Dao vessels as compensation. Hearing these pieces of news gave her an idea to seek revenge from the Zhu sect. She plans to use her identity as an elder of Qingyun sect to order Bishui sect to send a troop to attack Zhu sect. She's now arrived in Hai province and making her way to Bishui sect. Jiang Ming carefully read through Mu Shuiyun's information. Upon seeing their relationship value at -90, he knew Mu Shuiyun wanted everyone from Zhu sect to die. After all, Mu Shuiyun did not know him at all. Then, he read her incredibly long status without missing a word. Jiang Ming felt rather speechless after he finished reading Mu Shuiyun's status. Mu Shuiyun is really vicious and heartless. She doesn't even care that her sect's in trouble. She's really crazy. His eyes shone with killing intent as he thought to himself, Qingyun sect must be enraged by the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion's demands, especially the 2 top-grade Dao vessels. Qingyun sect is busy dealing with their problems now, so this is the best time for me to begin my hunt. I won't stand for her plotting to kill junior sister or anyone from Zhu sect. Jiang Ming returned to his room and activated the formation that isolated the building from the outside. Then, he extended a strand of his consciousness to check on his master and sister. When he saw his master was digesting the medicinal pill and his junior sister was cultivating, he felt it was safe enough to sneak out. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly froze in his steps before turning to look in the direction of Qingyun sect. He frowned. He was suddenly seized by a sense of unease. His gut instincts had been very accurate, so he did not think lightly of it. Are there experts searching the Tomb of Extreme Path at the border of Hai Province and Qing Province? After a while, he finally left. To be safe, he found himself a safe spot. He leaped onto a tree branch before he sat cross-legged on it. At the same time, he suppressed his aura to avoid detection. Following that, he brought out a space crystal. He planned to comprehend the space Sambodha using it. He brought the crystal to his forehead, channeling his mana into it. In just an instant, a mysterious energy shrouded his mind. He could see spatial networks, spatial ripples, spatial vibrations, spatial distortions, spatial nodes, and so on. He continued to comprehend the space Sambodha as he tried to master its powers. He only stopped cultivating when the energy in the space crystal was depleted, reducing the crystal to dust. When he opened his eyes, it was as though he was looking at a whole new world. He could now clearly see the spatial network and waves. He could even sense the spatial nodes that were as countless as the stars. Jiang Ming exclaimed in delight, "Amazing! He decided to cast the Great Akasa Steps since it was related to the void and space. He vanished in just a blink of an eye and reappeared thousands of miles away. This time, he did not travel through the Akasa network, otherwise also known as the void or spatial network. Instead, he had stepped on a spatial node and arrived at another spatial node. In other words, he had teleported. Jiang Ming felt like laughing out loud. With this, I have nothing to fear. After he calmed down, he recalled he had to kill Mu Shuiyun as fast as he could, so he rushed toward High Province. Without understanding, one would not be able to see things even if they were right in front of one's eyes. For example, space. It was abstract and had no form, but it was everywhere. However, once one gained an understanding of it, one would see a whole new world. One might not be able to see space or the void, but one would be able to see the things related to it like spatial nodes. At this time, Jiang Ming continued to travel using the spatial nodes, leaping from one node to another. The further the spatial node was, the more mana it consumed. After a while, he discovered his limit was teleporting 3,000 miles away. He was delighted. This is amazing. Previously, when he traveled using the Akasa network, it would cause spatial vibrations. Hence, it was impossible for him to not leave any traces behind. With this, he would be truly traceless. Although it consumed a lot of mana, this was not an issue to Jiang Ming. It did not take long before Jiang Ming arrived at the High Province. Since it was located near the sea, the people had to frequently deal with ferocious sea beasts. For this reason, the province was not very affluent. In the past, there used to be three main forces here: the Jiang clan, the Feiyun sect, and the Tianshu sect. After the invasion of Bishu sect, the Jiang clan submitted while Feiyun sect was annihilated. Only Tianshu sect was left struggling. Jiang Ming called up the human path records to check on Mu Shuiyun again. Following that, he received notifications that he had unlocked two new functions of the human path records: locate and projection. As its name suggested, the locate function would help Jiang Ming pinpoint the location when he wrote his target's name in the human path records. He was delighted with this function. In the future, he would be able to find everyone in the future. As for the projection function, Jiang Ming could project his power over to his target after pinpointing his target's location. He was shocked and delighted by this function. Jiang Ming thought to himself with bright eyes, this means I'll be able to send my clones over. Why do I feel like the human path records is much better than the system? Name: Mu Shuiyun, race, human, gender, female, cultivation base, primal spirit realm, background, elder of the Qingyun sect, relationship, -90, innate talent, 9 stars, water spirit, body, status. She was on her way to Hai province to order Bishui sect to attack Zhuyang sect. When she was 10,000 miles away from her destination, she sensed a familiar aura that seemed to agitate her. She hurriedly switched directions following the familiar aura. When she arrived, she saw a mansion near a beach. At that time, there was a banquet in the mansion. When she forced her way in, she saw Bai Lang, the white-scaled dragon whom she had met in the past after being captured. She attacked Bai Lang in a frenzy, but when she realized she could not win, she cried. As it turns out, Bai Lang is Mu Lei's nephew. Mu Lei's father is his grandfather. Then, she pleaded with Bai Lang to seek revenge for his junior uncle Mu Lei. Later on, she discovered two of the guests are the chief overseer of the Bishui sect and the clan leader of the Jiang clan respectively. Currently, she's plotting with them to annihilate Zhuyang sect. Jiang Ming frowned when he read Mu Shuiyun's status. He speculated that the Bishui sect had allied with the Sea clan. The sect had moved here with the intention to conquer the eastern region. He wrote the words clan leader of the Yang clan on the human path records, but nothing showed up as expected. It was not a name after all. It was just a title. Apart from that, Jiang Ming had a headache when he thought about Mu Shuiyun's complex relationships. Initially, he had thought Bai Lang was Mu Lei's father. Who knew Mu Lei was Bai Lang's junior uncle instead? Mu Lei's father was Bai Lang's grandfather. After thinking about it, he thought it made sense. After all, Bai Lang's grandfather was really strong. It was the reason the Qingyun sect did not dare to retaliate even after he captured and violated Mu Shuiyun. Jiang Ming shook his head as he muttered, "What a complicated relationship." Following that, he activated the locate function with just a thought. In just a moment, he saw two figures that represented him and Mu Shuiyun respectively. A line connected the two figures, and the words 32,000 kilometers could be seen in the middle of the line. Jiang Ming would have to travel southeast to get to Mu Shuiyun. Although he could easily find anyone with the locate function, he was slightly dissatisfied. He mumbled to himself, it'd be better if it's more detailed and shows the route's geography as well. Using the human path records as a medium, his consciousness traveled through the void and arrived at the place where Mu Shuiyun was. He could clearly sense her and the spatial node within 100 miles radius. He could project anywhere within the area. The human path records is really amazing. With these, I can be the best assassin in the world, Jiang Ming exclaimed. A naughty thought popped up in his mind at this moment. With these abilities, he would be able to go to Jiuyong Peak's pool without being discovered. At that time, he would be able to peak. Name: Bailang race, scaled dragon. Gender: male, cultivation base, primal spirit realm. Background: cave master of the white scaled dragon cave, one of the 36 demon kings in the Red Mountain Palace. Relationship: 0 innate talent, 9 stars. Status: after learning about the devil sect's resurgence, he decided to investigate Bishui sect by sending his son there. However, he was seized with rage when he learned of his son's death. For this reason, he came to the mansion near the beach. He invited the chief overseer of Bishui sect and the clan leader of the Jiang clan over to find out what had happened and to also plan their next step. During the banquet, he sensed the aura of an expert. The expert, who turned out to be Mu Shui-yun, attacked immediately. After he subdued Mu Shui-yun, he learned about his junior uncle's death. The truth is that he doesn't care for his junior uncle, but he decided to foster a good relationship with Mu Shui-yun due to her position in Qingyun sect. Jiang Ming was speechless when he read Bailang's status. As it turned out, Bai Haitian was Bailang's son. Bai Haitian's father was a demon king in the palace, and his great-grandfather was the expert who captured Mu Shui-yun in the past, resulting in the birth of Mu Lei. While Jiang Ming was on the move, he thought to himself, Bishui sect, the white-scaled dragon cave, the Red Mountain Palace, the Jiang clan, Mu Shui-yun. There's also the Sima clan that Bishui sect has contact with. All of them are all knowingly or unknowingly linked. Jiang Ming usually remained indifferent toward the chaos in the world. However, the current mess would, unfortunately, affect him, so he knew he had to cut the source of the problems at their roots tonight. In just a moment, Jiang Ming crossed hundreds and thousands of miles as he traveled to his destination. The moon illuminated the sky, vaguely revealing a valley that was surrounded by mountains. A stream that sparkled with a silvery white light from the moonlight snaked through the valley. A cool breeze blew in the air, bringing the smell of the ocean with it. The sound of waves hitting the shore rang softly in the air as well. Sea creatures such as mussel women were seen carrying plates of food while the mermaids sang in their melodious voices and danced with charming movements. Jiang Ming hid in the void about 100 miles away as he observed the manor in the distance. He speculated inwardly, Mu Shui-yun and Bailang are both in the Primal Spirit realm. I think the chief overseer of Bishui sect is in the same realm as well. However, the clan leader of the Jiang clan should be a realm lower in the nascent soul realm. He lamented that he did not know their names. Otherwise, he would have their information as soon as he wrote their names in the human path records. He knew he could not kill these people rashly. He had to think of a foolproof way to kill them. While he was lost in his thoughts, he used the human path records to conjure up clones of himself. Since they were formed from vitality energy, they would not last long. Nevertheless, they were good enough to be used as tools. Jiang Ming equipped all the clones with a top-grade spirit crystal, which he had obtained from killing Bai Yu and the others. Then, with Mu Shui-yun in the center, he sent his clones to the 4 cardinal directions and 8 secondary intercardinal directions around her. Not only that, but he also sent his clones to the 72 star positions and the points of the 36 ley lines around her. The clones were all within 100 miles of Mu Shui-yun. After the clones arrived at their respective positions, they tossed their respective top-grade spirit crystals out in a specific direction. With this, Jiang Ming completed the 10 directions heavenly transformation formation. The formation's range covered the manor and the area within a radius of 100 miles. Then, he activated the formation with his mana, turning the area in the formation into a forbidden area and isolating it from the world. This formation was not very powerful, and it was mainly used to isolate and imprison. It suited Jiang Ming's purpose very well at this moment. As soon as the formation was activated, the people in the manor became aware of it immediately. Bai Lang roared, "Who is it? How dare you make a move against me?" Bai Lang rushed into the sky as huge waves surged above him. The waves looked terrifying and endless. At the same time, Mu Shui-yun, the chief overseer of the Bishui sect, and the clan leader of the Jiang clan rose into the air as well. They brought out their artifacts and activated their defensive special abilities to ensure their safety. When they rose in the air, they saw a huge chessboard hovering in the sky. Lines crisscrossed above it, looking like connected stars. In the next moment, a huge pulling force surged out from the chessboard. Bailang was shocked and frightened by the abrupt appearance of the pulling force. He unleashed his power, trying to resist, but it was futile. In just a short moment, he was pulled into the chessboard. Following that, the other old men were pulled into the chessboard as well. Mu Shui-yun, who was watching this, was terrified. She did not know what kind of Tao vessel the chessboard was. The energy she used to resist the pulling force only managed to help for a few moments before she was pulled into the chessboard like the others. Following that, all living things in the manor were pulled into the chessboard as well. At this moment, Jiang Ming appeared in midair. His hand held the golden obsidian, which was suitable for a fight using only physical strength. Then, he allowed himself to be pulled into the chessboard as well. Inside the chessboard, the area was divided into a black region and white region. One represented the game master, and the other represented the opponents. Mu Shui-yun and the other 3 men's expressions were grim. They stood in front of the slaves and servants of the manor who were mostly from the Sea clans. Upon seeing Jiang Ming, Mu Shuiyun asked in confusion, "Who are you? Where are we?" She had been shocked to discover she could not mobilize her mana and her primal spirit energy in this place. Moreover, her cultivation base had also been suppressed. Bai Lang said, "This must be a Dao vessel with an independent realm." As Bai Lang spoke, his head transformed into that of a white-scaled dragon's head. It somewhat resembled a turtle. At the same time, claws grew from his fingers as a long tail grew out of his back. This form was the battle form of a white-scaled dragon. When the transformation was complete, Bai Lang asked, "Who are you? Why are you targeting us?" Jiang Ming replied, "I'm from the Qingyun sect. No one knows about me since I've been cultivating in seclusion in the sect's forbidden area. Mu Shuiyun, I can be considered your junior granduncle." Being a cautious person, Jiang Ming naturally did not reveal his true identity. Jiang Ming smiled and continued to say, "I know you're colluding with one of the Sea clans. Your son has the blood of a scaled dragon, so you must be partial toward the Sea clans. The Sea clans are restless and have been coming to the shores of the eastern region. They must be up to no good. I thought that by killing Muley you'd be able to sever your ties with the Sea clans and come to your senses. However, it seems like I was wrong. You actually came to meet Bai Lang. It's just as well. I'll kill all of you tonight." He had heard someone calling out to the clan leader of the Jiang clan and the chief overseer of the Bishui sect earlier. Hence he called up the human path records inwardly and mentally wrote their names on it. Name: Jiang Feng. Race: human. Gender: male. Cultivation base: nascent. Soul realm. Background: clan leader of the Jiang clan. Relationship: -99. Innate talent: 8 stars. Status: the clan was on the wane, so he was struggling to revive it. Alas, the members were not powerful enough, so the clan was suppressed by the Feiyun sect and Tianshui sect. The clan's chances of survival grew slimmer and slimmer with time. However, a few years ago, the elders of Bishui sect persuaded him to ally himself with them. The Bishui sect promised him cultivation resources and half of the High Province as long as he promised to assist them in annihilating the Feiyun sect and Tianshui sect. Despite learning of the Sea clans and Bishui sect's intention to invade and conquer the eastern region due to the promised rewards, he agreed to the Bishui sect's request. He was asked by the chief overseer of Bishui sect to meet the cave master of the white-scaled dragon cave to discuss ways to annihilate the Tianshui sect without provoking the Qingyun sect. During the meeting, Bai Lang had requested them to look for his son's murderer. Halfway through the meeting, Mu Shuiyun suddenly showed up. He was overjoyed when he discovered the relationship between Bai Lang and the former holy daughter of the Qingyun sect. After reading Jiang Fei's information, Jiang Ming thought to himself, as expected, Bishui sect is colluding with the Sea clans to invade and conquer the eastern region. With the resurgence of the devil sects, the conflicts with the Zhong province's infinite alchemy pavilion, and the Sea clans and Bishui sect's plot, the eastern region is in a mess. Jiang Ming shuddered when he thought about what the future held for the eastern region. He did not care about the relationship value at -99. After all, he was planning to kill Jiang Fei after this. Swoosh! He flipped to the next page of the human path records. Name: Haiyan. Race: human. Gender: male. Cultivation base: primal spirit realm. Background: Grand Elder of Bishui sect. Relationship: -86. Innate talent: 9 stars. Status: the Bishui sect was located in the outer regions of the submerged dragon continent. The sect was crowded out and struggled to survive. Through a series of coincidences, the sect secretly joined the Red Mountain Palace. Under the order of the Red Mountain Palace, the sect sent disciples to the eastern region to lay down their foundation and to investigate the situation of the forces in the eastern region. After leading his team here, he reached out to the Jiang clan, which had submitted to him years ago, and ordered them to annihilate the Feiyun sect and bribe the Qingyun sect. He plans to annihilate the Tianshui sect next on his quest to conquer the eastern region. He had been delighted when he heard about the resurgence of the devil sects and the attack the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion launched on the Qingyun sect. During his meeting with Bai Lang today, they discussed reaching out to the experts from the devil sects. They plan to work together with the devil sects and divide the eastern region. With that, Bishui sect will be able to expand and conquer Qing province. When he first saw Mu Shuiyun from the Qingyun sect earlier, he panicked and was about to strike. However, when he learned about her relationship with Bai Lang, he was delighted. With the former holy daughter of the Qingyun sect on their side, it would be easier to carry out their plan. Jiang Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw the information of the chief overseer, no, the Grand Elder of Bishui sect. As it turned out, the main culprit, the one pulling the strings, was the Red Mountain Palace. The Bishui sect was unaware that Bai Lang had long sent his son to secretly investigate and contact the Yinmo sect. It was likely that the Devil sects and the Red Mountain Palace were already working together. When Jiang Ming thought about the Yinmo sect, Red Mountain Palace, and the submerged dragon continent's plot, he gritted his teeth as killing intent surged from his body. It took only a few seconds for Jiang Ming to read through the information. Outwardly, he had just finished speaking. Upon hearing Jiang Ming's words, Mu Shuiyun asked with bloodshot eyes. You're the one who killed my son? She disregarded the matter of Jiang Ming coming from the Qingyun sect. She looked at him with eyes filled with rage as the desire to avenge her son rose in her heart. In the next moment, she lunged toward him as she cried out, "Go to hell, you bastard!" Although she could not mobilize her mana, her physique was strong. When she punched out, the wind whistled in the wake of her fist. Although Mu Shuiyin was fast and strong, Jiang Ming was faster and stronger. He brought down the golden obsidian, cleaving her into two. The moon shone brightly in the sky as the roars of the wild beasts rang from the distance. Two young experts, a black-clad man and a white-clad man, hovered above the peak of a mountain. The black-clad clasped his hands on his back as a cloud of dark mist hung at his back. The dark mist roiled and writhed as though there was something within it. It was a rather eerie and strange sight. The white-clad man had silver hair that fluttered in the night breeze. He was very handsome, but his eyes shone with the vicissitudes of life that belied his appearance. The two men were chatting with each other at this moment. Are you done with the preparations? No. Our initial plan was to wait for another 100 years before we confront the Qingyun sect. Now that part of our plan is exposed, our plan has to be pushed forward. This is why I asked to meet you. Brother Bai, we agreed back then you'll join us immediately after we made a move. Can you fulfill your promise now? Not only did you fail to complete the preparations, but you've also gotten ahead of yourself. I've only just laid the foundation, so it's not the right time to join you yet. No, now's the right time. Due to the conflicts between the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion and Qingyun sect, people from the Zhong province are rushing over. The eastern region will be in turmoil. Our best chance to act is when the eastern region is in chaos. The conflict between the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion and the Qingyun sect isn't big enough to shake their foundations. They're just fighting to uphold their pride. Moreover, your Yinmo sect is just one of the 6 devil sects, so it's not very strong on its own. Once your sect acts in the open, the Qingyun sect will surely come after you with all their might. At that time, even the Infinite Alchemy sect will unite with them to take you down. The Infinite Alchemy sect doesn't have the guts to do something like that. What makes you say so? We've been gathering our strength. The other 5 sects will also slowly begin to come out of hiding. Moreover, the Million Demon Mountain in the southern region has had enough of being suppressed by humans, so they're raring to strike back. You're right. With the Sea Clan, we're more than strong enough to fight them. Not only that, but we can crush all human forces. The land of Shenzhou is vast. When your clan occupies it, the strength of your clan will increase tremendously. You're too naive. How many million years have humans dominated the world? The strength of their foundation is beyond our imaginations. It's not so easy to crush all of them. Moreover, do you think humans can't wipe out your devil sects? I can't say for sure if they can wipe out the devil sects. However, I'm sure that now is our chance to act. Brother Bai, we will come out of hiding in 10 years. Will you join us then? We're still making preparations. If you want me to join you openly, your devil sect should have come out of hiding by now. At least that would give me more confidence, the white-clad man said. At this moment, he felt a burning sensation on his finger. When he lifted his hand, he saw the thread of green silk twined around his left ring finger was burning. In just a blink of an eye, it was reduced to ashes. He was clearly stunned by this sight. He frowned as he muttered under his breath, "He's dead?" As though he had the sixth sense, the white-clad man turned to look into the distance. Then, he said to the black-clad young man, "Don't look for me again if you're not sincere. If you're sincere, just act according to the plan that we've agreed upon." Following that, the white-clad man flew away like a streak of light. Upon seeing this, the black-clad man frowned and scoffed coldly. "Why are you in such a hurry? Those from the Sea clans are as cowardly as a mouse. When things are optimistic, you don't hesitate to go all out. Very well, I'll let you see hope and go all out. When you step foot onto the land of Shenzhou and we stabilize our power here, I'll make a seafood buffet out of you and your kind." Following that, the black-clad man vanished into the darkness inside the chessboard. After Jiang Ming cleaved Mu Shuiyin into two, her primal spirit appeared before it disintegrated into a wisp of smoke. He was slightly surprised when he saw that. However, he gained a further understanding of death in the mana-sealing chessboard. Once a person's physical body was damaged to a certain extent in here, they would die. To be safe, he called up the human path records to check on Mu Shuiyun's status to confirm she was truly dead. Meanwhile, Bai Lang, Jiang Feng, and Hai Yan were shocked by Mu Shuiyun's quick death. Hai Yan quickly regained his composure and roared, "Attack!" As an experienced primal spirit expert, how could he not figure out that Jiang Ming intended to kill all of them after trapping them here? He had also figured out the only way for them to leave this place was to kill Jiang Ming. He also shared his discovery with Bai Lang and Jiang Feng. He explained, "We can't mobilize our mana, but we can use our vitality, energy, and blood to access the weapons in our spatial ring." After Hai Yan finished speaking, he brought out a large knife. Jiang Ming narrowed his eyes as he looked at Hai Yan. As expected, as the man leading the members of Bishui sect to conquer Hai province, he's rather smart. The trio moved swiftly even though they could not mobilize their mana. Alas, there was still a huge gap between their strengths and Jiang Ming's. Jiang Ming charged out. His sword collided with Hai Yan's knife before breaking it. Then, it fell on a downward trajectory on Hai Yan and slashed through Hai Yan's body. Just like that, Hai Yan died tragically. At this time, Bai Lang's Wolf Fang mace and Jiang Feng's long sword struck at Jiang Ming at the same time. Jiang Ming did not bother to dodge despite being more than capable of doing so. He merely glanced at his shoulder before he laughed contemptuously. Too weak. Bai Lang was stunned. When he regained his senses, he shuddered in fear. I'm a scaled dragon. In this world, my bloodline is only second to the dragon, and my body is incredibly powerful. Just my body alone is stronger than nascent soul experts. How's it possible that you're not affected at all by my strike? Impossible. Impossible. On the other hand, Jiang Fei fell to his knees immediately. Senior, I surrender. I promise that the Jiang clan and I will follow you and do your bidding. Needless to say, our clan's resources are all yours as well. Please just spare my life. Bai Lang roared, keep dreaming. He killed Mu Shuiyun without even batting an eyelid. Do you really think he'll spare your life? Attack him. He did not dodge even though he was capable. He merely took a glance on his shoulders because he felt nothing at all. Jiang Ming laughed. Too weak? When laughing, he showed 2 rows of white teeth, but it actually looked ferocious. Bai Lang was stunned for a moment and shivered with terror. I'm a scaled dragon. A scaled dragon. In this world, my bloodline is merely second to the dragon and my body is incredibly powerful. Merely based on my body, I am stronger than the experts of nascent soul. But how is it that you didn't even move with one blow of the bat? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Meanwhile, Jiang Feng knelt down straight away. Senior, I submit. I can lead the entire Jiang clan to submit, be your slave and servant. I am also willing to give all the resources of my clan. Please just spare my life. Bai Lang roared. Rubbish. He killed Mu Shuiyun without any hesitation. Do you think he'll let you go? Attack. Scaled dragon blood explosion. A mist of blood rose from Bai Lang's body, which returned to his body after a moment. During this time, his aura soared. As though he had gone berserk, he swung his Wolf Fang mace in a frenzy. His speed was rather fast, leaving after images in his wake. Alas, Jiang Ming was still faster. He parried the Wolf Fang mace before he kicked Bai Lang with so much force that Bai Lang exploded into a bloody mist. I feel as though I've been given a cheat, Jiang Ming thought to himself. Bai Lang was not weak at all, but Jiang Ming was just insanely strong. In the cultivation world, physical fights were very basic. Apart from some rare instances that involved bloodline special abilities, physical fights were dependent on only speed, reaction, and strength. Jiang Fei's face was ashen. Beads of cold sweat broke out on his forehead and he kowtowed continuously and pleaded, Senior, please spare my life. Please spare my life. Jiang Ming was rendered speechless by Bai Lang's action. You're in the nascent soul realm, but you're so afraid of death? Jiang Feng smiled bitterly. Senior, I'm not afraid of death. However, I shoulder the lives of my clansmen. If I fall, their lives would be miserable. I can't die for the sake of my clan. Jiang Ming shook his head, feeling slightly regretful. Nevertheless, his expression remained indifferent as he said, I would let you work for me, but unfortunately, to leave this place, one of us will have to die. Contrary to his words, Yang Ming would not have accepted Jiang Fei even if he could leave the chessboard without killing anyone. After all, Jiang Fei was even capable of abandoning his teammates as soon as his life was threatened. As soon as Jiang Ming's voice fell, a maniacal grin appeared on Jiang Fei's face as he suddenly leaped toward Jiang Ming, brandishing his sword that was pointed at Jiang Ming's eye. Jiang Ming did not evade the attack. He lifted his leg and kicked Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng suffered a similar fate as Bai Lang, exploding into a mist of blood. Then Jiang Ming looked at Bai Lang's servants in the distance. As he moved, he left after images in his wake. In just one breath, all 50-60 members of the Sea Clan died. After gathering the spoils of the battle and reducing the corpses to ashes, he left the mana-sealing chessboard. Then, after he put the chessboard away, black mist surged out of his body, transforming into a demonic fire that cleansed his aura. Then, he directed the fire toward the manor. He was not going to leave any traces behind. At this time, the formation suddenly shattered. A white-clad young man with silver hair flew over. He glanced at Yang Ming before he raised his hand. Flowing that, 2 wisps of energy flew out from the burning manor. The white-clad young man's eyes flashed coldly as he said, These belong to Mu Shuiyun and Bai Lang. You're the one who killed the woman I love and my grandson. Jiang Ming shrugged. You missed another 2 people. I killed your son Mu Lei and your other grandson Bai Haitian as well. When he saw the white-clad man's information on the human path records, he was slightly nervous. However, an idea soon appeared in his mind. He said provocatively, Isn't that surprising? Let me tell you something even more surprising. Mu Shuiyun, the woman you love, was having an affair with Bai Lang, your grandson. Isn't that exciting? As Jiang Ming spoke, he began to attack. Cultivation Base, Faradish Realm background. One of the 4 commanders of Red Mountain Palace relationship. Minish 92 innate talent, 10 stars, pure scaled dragon bloodline. Status. He was called out by an expert from the Yinmo sect to discuss the invasion of the eastern region when he sensed Mu Shuiyun's death through the green silk thread around his finger. The green silk thread was the product of the resonance curse he had cast on her. When he arrived, he couldn't find anything. However, when he used his energy to sweep the surroundings, he accidentally shattered the formation. Jiang Ming knew he was in trouble when he saw Bai Zizai's information on the human paths record. He had no trouble facing Primal Spirit cultivators, but that was not the case for parity experts. Cultivators who had entered the parity realm were also known as great monarchs. This was the case everywhere in the world. When Jiang Ming initially sensed Bai Zizai's presence, he had wrongly assumed he would be able to deal with Bai Zizai. Although he had come with an idea in his mind, he still could not help the fear that rose in his heart. While Jiang Ming tried to provoke Bai Zizai with his words, he brought the mana-sealing chessboard again and activated it. Buzz! The chessboard vibrated before a powerful pulling force swept toward Bai Zizai, pulling him into the chessboard. What a powerful force! What kind of Dao vessel is that? Bai Zizai exclaimed in shock as divine light burst forth from his body. A vortex formed around him, counteracting the chessboard's pulling force. He managed to resist it. He hastily mobilized his mana and channeled it into the mana-sealing chessboard. Who are you? Bai Zizai asked, shocked. Despite being able to withstand it for the moment, he felt as though the force was able to devour him whole. He could clearly sense a great threat from the chessboard and was shocked by it. With his current cultivation base, barring those powerful beings living in seclusion, he could easily defeat most people in this world. He did not expect he would run into someone who made him feel so highly threatened today. In all honesty, Bai Zizai was not really bothered about the deaths of his illegitimate son, grandsons, and even Mu Shuiyun, whom he had been infatuated with for a long time. Moreover, he was not lacking women. With just a wave of his hand, countless women would flock to him. If he wanted children, he only needed to expend a little more effort. When Bai Zizai sensed the pulling force had intensified and that he was about to be sucked in, he hurriedly summoned his battle armor on himself. The battle armor shone with a silver light and emitted a formidable aura. The armor glowed with intensifying brightness, neutralizing some of the pulling force. At this time, 2 dragon horns appeared on Bai Zizai's head. This was a sign that he was about to revert to his dragon form. With this, his aura soared terrifyingly. Shortly afterward, a sword that also shone with a silver light appeared in Bai Zizai's hand. The sword looked so intimidating that Jiang Ming felt as though he had already been cleaved into 2 by the sword, even though the sword had not even moved yet. A strange phenomenon appeared above Bai Zizai's head at this moment. It looked as though the ocean, which was flashing with lightning bolts, had appeared above his head. The lightning bolts looked like thunder dragons leaping out of the surface of the sea. At this moment, it looked as though the ocean had drowned the sky. With a combination of his abilities, Bai Zizai finally managed to completely neutralize the pulling force from the mana-sealing chessboard. Jiang Ming was stunned. Damn it, I thought I wouldn't run into any problems considering my strength and a top-grade Dao vessel. I didn't expect to run into a monster like him. A hint of despair rose in Jiang Ming's heart when he realized the precarious situation he was in. He thought that Bai Zizai must be the source of uneasiness he had felt when he had first left Juyang sect. Jiang Ming had been very cautious when he acted this time. Before trapping Mi Shuiyun and the others in the mana-sealing chessboard, he had even cast a formation to isolate the area from the world. It was out of his expectation that Bai Zizai had cast the resonance curse on Mu Shuiyun, or that Bai Zizai would rush here as soon as he sensed Mu Shuiyun's death. Today is definitely not my day. Countless thoughts raced through Jiang Ming's mind as he hastily put the mana-sealing chessboard away and vanished into thin air. Where did he go? Bai Zizai muttered to himself. Although he's strong, I can sense he's still in one of the lower realms. He definitely didn't tear the void open. This means he has comprehended the technique to control space. I have to kill him today, otherwise he'll become a threat to us in the future. Bai Zizai knew how formidable spatial control ability was. He closed his eyes and extended his consciousness. In just a blink of an eye, he saw Jiang Ming, who had appeared 3,000 miles away. He didn't leave any fluctuations when he moved. Did he teleport? Bai Zizai inhaled deeply before he shot toward Jiang Ming like a streak of light. As soon as Jiang Ming reappeared 3,000 miles away, he felt Bai Zizai charging toward him at top speed. Seriously, Jiang Ming exclaimed. When he looked up, he saw an energy sword tearing through the sky. The silver light it emitted was so bright that it illuminated the entire night sky. Damn it, Jiang Ming cursed. He knew he would die if he was unable to dodge the attack. I need to run. Jiang Ming hurriedly teleported away again. As soon as stepped on the spatial node, he saw a ripple in the void before he was expelled from the void by a powerful force. In the end, he only managed to teleport 300 miles away. The power to distort space. Jiang Ming cried out. At the same time, the energy sword landed on a mountain behind him, splitting the peak into two and reducing the rubble into dust. In just a moment, Jiang Ming felt Bai Zi's eye coming at him again. Damn it, why can't I shake him off? Jiang Ming cursed in an anxiety-laden voice. He had assumed that even if he were no match for Bai Zi's eye, he would have no problem fleeing from Bai Zi's eye. After all, he had once blocked an attack from a parody expert. At this moment, he finally realized how naive he was. Swoosh! The human path's record appeared in his mind. Then, just as Bai Zi's eye was about to attack again, he cried out, Akasa projection! Yang Ming used 1/10 of his power to form a powerful decoy. With the help of the human path's record, he sent the clone near Bai Zi's eye. The clone used the Heaven Suppression Divine Seal and Wood Dragon to attack Bai Zi's eye. Bai Zi's eye froze for a moment but swiftly regained his senses. He brandished his sword, destroying both the Divine Seal and the clone. At this time, the forest that had shot out from the ground launched their attacks against him. He summoned a lightning bolt, destroying the forest that spanned several dozen miles in just a blink of an eye. Then, when he tried to track Jiang Ming again, he discovered he had lost Jiang Ming. You think you can run? Bai Zi's eyes scoffed. Then, he closed his eyes and extended a stand of his consciousness into the void before he began to search for Jiang Ming. Although you did a good job concealing your presence and didn't leave any traces behind, I'm sure you're still around, Bai Zi's eye murmured to himself. After a moment, his eyes snapped open as he said, Found you. With that, Bai Zi's eyes shot toward the northwestern direction at top speed. At the same time, Jiang Ming was teleporting away with all his might after sending his clone out as a decoy. After teleporting about 6,000 miles away, his face turned pale when he sensed that Bai Zi's eye had destroyed his clone. Since the clone was formed from his power, its destruction would naturally affect him as well. He shouldn't be able to find me now, right? Jiang Ming had concealed himself with the system's help. He was just about to sigh in relief when he felt Bai Zi's eye's consciousness locking onto him again. So fast, Jiang Ming's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly flicked his fingers before 9 top-grade spirit crystals appeared, forming a simple formation around him. His body began to increase in size until he was 3.33 meters in height. This was the first stage of the threefold astral transformation that could boost his physical strength. Then, he teleported again. When he reappeared, he had already teleported 10,000 miles away. He did not stop and kept teleporting again and again. He only stopped when he arrived at a place that once belonged to the Feiyun sect but had been seized by the Bishui sect. Jiang Ming's clone stood outside of the Bishui sect while he hid his presence and observed from a distance. A moment later, the terrifying aura of Paradise Cultivator locked appeared again. Bai Zi's eye, why won't you leave me alone? The clone shouted. I'll dismember you one day and feast on dragon meat. Swoosh! An energy sword appeared out of thin air, tearing across the night sky with a destructive might. Its length was a few hundred miles long, and as soon as it appeared, an immense pressure descended on the area, causing the air to freeze. Bai Zi's eye, do you know that when I found Mu Shuiyun, she was trying to conceive a child with Bai Lang? You should thank me instead. How can you be so ruthless? After saying this, the clone leaped and vanished into the void. At the same time, Jiang Ming seized the chance and undid the clone, returning the energy to his body. Die! Bai Zizi roared. The force of the energy sword surged and shrouded the area where Jiang Ming was standing. The formation that covered the back of Bishui's sect had collapsed. When the energy sword landed, some of the people there exploded into mists of blood and flesh immediately. They did not even have a chance to cry for help before they died. It did not take long before the Bishui sect's estate was completely destroyed. When the energy sword and its light vanished and receded, one could see the entire place had been reduced to rubble and debris. When Bai Zi's eye finally arrived, his expression was unsightly and his eyes seemed capable of shooting fire when he looked at the scene of destruction. He said furiously, no matter who you are or where you go, I'll find you and kill you. Bai Zi's eye had always been cool-headed, but at this moment, he had completely lost his composure. His mind was filled with scenes of Mu Shuiyin and Bai Lang's bodies intimately intertwined. These scenes fanned the flames of fury in his heart to great heights. Bai Zi's eye inhaled deeply before he narrowed his eyes and looked at the survivors in front of him. Then, he said, it's because of this branch of Bishui sect that my enemy slipped away from me. All of you will have to pay with your deaths. As soon as his voice fell, Bai Zi's eye lifted his hand, absorbing the saber Sambodha, before he pointed his finger down. He summoned lightning bolt after lightning bolt down on the ruins of Bishui sect, killing everyone. Even the chasm caused by his energy sword was quickly filled up with rubble. Back in Juyang sect's Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming silently returned to his room after he arrived at Chuyang Peak. He sat in a lotus position as he panted, his chest heaved up and down as he gulped for air. He knew he had been extremely lucky tonight. Luckily, he had mastered space control and the Great Akasa Steps, which helped him to escape from Bai Zi's eye. Otherwise, he would have died. Swoosh. He called up the human path's record to at Bai Zi's eye's information again. His eyes quickly moved down to Bai Zizai's status. Status: destroyed the Bishui sect with just a strike. He vented his anger by destroying a branch of the Bishui sect. He had intentionally used lightning bolts so it would look like Qingyun's sect had killed everyone with the Nine Heavens Imperial Lightning. At this time, he's thinking about how he can tempt the head of the Bishui sect to continue serving the Red Mountain Palace. After I provoked him, he's still able to maintain his cool and shift the blame to the Qingyun sect? What a terrifying monster, Jiang Ming thought to himself. Considering how often he ran into powerful enemies, he decided to stay put in the sect unless his junior sister was in danger. Following that, he brought a spirit crystal out, closed his eyes and began healing himself. As for the cultivation that he had been storing the whole time, he decided not to use it yet. It was calm and peaceful on the mountain, but the world outside had been thrown into chaos. The Jiang clan in the High Province. The Jiang clan was one of the main forces in High Province. In the forbidden area of the Jiang clan, there was a pavilion that housed the soul tokens of their core disciples. When the soul token of Jiang Fei, the clan leader, shattered, which was on the top row shattered, it startled the old guard. When he regained his senses, he rubbed his eyes before he took another look. His face paled and he trembled when he realized his eyes were not playing tricks on him. With that, chaos descended on the Jiang clan in the middle of the ocean. A fight had erupted in the white-scaled dragon cave. A few of Bai Lang's wives were fighting each other for the treasures that he left behind in the main branch of the Bishui sect. When the bell tolled 81 times, the sect master and all the elders gathered. All of them wore grim expressions on their faces. Their grand elder, Hai Yan, who went to the eastern region, had died. Even the group of disciples there had died. Hai Yan was a primal spirit realm cultivator while the branch sect there was protected by a formation. With that, they were certain the culprit responsible for the murder of Hai Yang and the massacre in the branch sect was a Paradies expert. In the eastern region, Qingyun sect had the highest number of Paradies experts in the Qingyun sect. As soon as the Holy Lord of Qingyun sect learned that Mu Shuiyun's soul token had shattered, he had no doubts that the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion was responsible for her death. Was it those two monsters from the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion? The Holy Lord of Qingyun sect was at a loss over what to do. Due to the tension recently, it was not wise to directly confront the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion about this matter. He was sure if he mentioned them killing their former holy daughter, Old Tai would smash his hammer at him immediately. In just a night, many things had changed. He had breakfast on the rooftop with his junior sister as they admired the sunrise. All of a sudden, a powerful aura erupted from the main building on Chuyang Peak. Following that, the spiritual energy in the universe began to converge. Master has recovered. He's breaking through now. Linglong cried out excitedly as her eyes lit up. Then, she said, Master has very high innate talent. The only reason he didn't progress was due to his injuries. Now that he has recovered, with his rich experience, he's bound to progress rapidly and break through to higher realms. I'm sure he's overjoyed. Jiang Ming nodded with a smile. That's right. Linglong nodded. Then, after a moment, she added, I noticed the spiritual essence on the mountain had gotten richer recently. It's quite strange. I've been studying formations, so after I made some progress, I set up a few formations like the spirit formations and the ley line dragon formation, Jiang Ming explained. When did you become so skilled in formations, senior brother? I wasn't aware of this at all. Linglong was surprised. After surveying the surroundings again, she discovered that there were indeed traces of formations. There were spirit formation, illusory formation, formations that trap trespassers, and defensive formations. Although the levels of the formations were not high, they were all linked and very organized. Senior brother, you're amazing. Of course, my junior sister is a prodigy, so as your senior brother, it goes without saying that I have to be more amazing than you, right? That's right. While the duo was chatting, an orb of light that resembled the sun suddenly rose to the sky above the main building. Master is really talented. He has comprehended the fire Sambodha and is now forming the Tao seed to break through to the next realm, Linglong exclaimed. As soon as her voice fell, the sun-like orb descended as Gu Hai's aura soared tremendously. Swoosh! Jiang Ming silently called up the human paths record. Name, Gu Hai, gender, male, cultivation base, Tao seed realm, background, first seed of Juyang sect's Chuyang Peak relationship, 85 innate talent, 8 stars status. He has healed his purple mansion, comprehended the fire Sambodha, and formed a fire Tao seed. With these, he has successfully broken through to the Tao seed realm. Soon Gu Hai returned. He landed on the roof with his chin held high and chest puffed. He then swaggered toward his two disciples in a measured gait with the toes pointing outward. He looked very pleased and proud of himself. Quack, quack, quack. Jiang Ming quacked like a duck, causing Linglong to cover her mouth and giggle like a little girl. Gu Hai staggered as he asked angrily, What do you mean by that? I just saw a duck. Jiang Ming replied in a serious manner. Did you see it, master? How dare you? Gu Hai harumphed. You must be asking for a beating. He lifted his hand and hit the air with his palm, causing the wind to surge and the clouds to gather. He then raised his eyebrows, stroked his beard, and sat down. In the past, although I was a first seat, providing you two with a shelter was all I could do. However, things have changed. I can protect both of you now. Master, have you forgotten that junior sister's cultivation base is higher than yours? Jiang Ming pitched his voice low and said, stumping Gu Hai. Other than the sect master, your cultivation base is still the lowest amongst the first seats, Jiang Ming added. Gu Hai's face turned dark. Go prepare a meal. I want 32 dishes, and I'll hit you if you can't make them. No way! How could you punish me like that? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm your master. You're being unreasonable. I'm your master. Alright, you're the boss. Jiang Ming sighed and went to do his master's bidding. Gu Hui pulled out his wine guard and took a sip. Then, he exclaimed, gosh, this is so good. Linglong did not know what she should say. Soon, all 32 dishes were served. Good, good, good. This is too good. One of my disciples is a genius, while the other is good at cooking. I bet no one in this world is luckier than me, Gu Hai said as he enjoyed the dishes. They all taste really good. Linglong commented with a smile on her face. She really liked this kind of life. Jiang Ming pouted but did not say anything. Soon they all finished all the dishes. You've successfully satisfied your master and junior sister with a scrumptious meal. As such, access to the training zone has been activated. After filling his stomach, Gu Hai rose to his feet and said, you two stay here. I'm going out for a walk. He definitely is going to show off to other people, Jiang Ming muttered before reminding, Master, make sure you don't expose yourself. Don't worry, it's my perseverance, wisdom, and knowledge that has brought me this far, Gu Hai said as he waved his hand. Even the heavens are on my side, and now that my purple mansion has recovered, I'm sure I'll become stronger than other first seats or even the sect master one day, haha. He threw his head back in a burst of boisterous laughter and left. He just likes to show off, Linglong said, smiling brightly. Jiang Ming sighed. It has been pretty hard for him in the past few years. He presumes his seniority and refuses to step down from the position of the first seat in order to protect the two of us. Although nobody talks about it, I'm sure that there are some people who are not happy with it. However, after you've proved yourself to be a prodigy and now that he has recovered from his injuries and has ascended into the next realm, of course he would feel delighted. I guess that his first stop would be Jiaoyang Peak. Yeah, you're right. Linglong smiled and nodded. After cleaning the table, both of them came to the back of the mountain. There were only 5 mu of land left as he had used the rest of the land to grow some flowers and plants. He decided to use 1 mu to grow some vegetables while planting some spiritual medicine to the remaining 4 mu. Spiritual items were divided into 2 grades, namely normal grade and rudiment grade. Normal grade spiritual items were food for junior disciples such as spiritual rice and wheat. They usually ripened early and yielded high harvests. As for rudiment grade spiritual medicine, they were further categorized into low grade, middle grade, high grade, top grade, and medicine king. A low grade spiritual medicine would take at least a year to ripen, and some of the best quality would take at least 10 years. Middle grade spiritual medicine took between 10 to 100 years, high grade took 100 to 1,000 years, and top grade took more than 1,000 years. As for the medicine king, it would normally take 10,000 years and above. This categorization was only usable under suitable growing conditions. It could be used as a general guideline, but it was not absolute. What Jiang Ming grew was known as the azure silver grass. It was a very common low-grade spiritual medicine. As long as the soil conditions and the concentration of spiritual essence in the air were favorable, it could be harvested in a little more than a year. Jiang Ming planted 1 seedling per square meter, and there were a lot of them. Senior brother, why are you growing the azure silvergrass only? Linglong asked incredulously. The maturation time for each spiritual medicine is different, so if we grow one type at a time, we can harvest them all together, Jiang Ming said with a smile. Do you want to try to harvest them all together? It's a lot of fun. Of course, he also wanted to try to raise an azure silvergrass king. Do you think that the most common spiritual medicine like the azure silvergrass can become human? Hugging his arm, Linglong walked in the farm and said, become human. That's a demon. It's extremely difficult for a plant to become a demon, especially a common plant like this one. Not only does it require opportunity, but it also needs to absorb essence from the universe. The wind was breezy and the sun was warm. In the afternoon, Linglong started her cultivation. Jiang Ming opened up the human paths record and took a look. He noticed that Bai Zizai had gone to another place after he turned around the Juyang sect, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Just when he was about to continue his cultivation, Chang Yiming and Zhang Junbao arrived. Jiang Ming threw 2 bottles of wine at them. Although you rarely come out of the mountain, your wine is the best in the world, Zhang Junbao said. He took a big gulp from the bottle of wine and went to the gazebo. I must bring some spiritual items for you to make into wine one day, Shang Yiming chimed in. Sure, Shang Ming laughed. How come you're not in seclusion? I was about to go into seclusion when I heard something that made my scalp tingle. Thus, I figured I should come and let you know as well, Zhang Junbao said. Then, he stretched his arm forward. It went without saying that Jiang Ming knew what he wanted. He took a big bottle of wine out of his storage ring and threw it to him. Ha ha ha! You know me the best, Zhang Junbai said as he stored the wine bottle away. How about me? Chang Yuming stretched his arm out as well. Are you two here just for my wine? Jiang Ming said exasperatedly. That being said, he still gave a bottle to Chang Yiming. You're the only winemaker here, so of course we would come to you, Zhang Junbao said. Then, he pitched his voice low and continued. I received 2 messages today. I thought we've shut down all the connection to the outside world. As a cultivation sect, that is just a show to the outside world. How could you not know about it since you're the head disciple? Zhang Junbao said. 2 martial art experts from the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion in Zhong Province have come to Eastern Region. They attacked the Qingyun sect and stirred up a ruckus across the world some time ago. It's only until very recently that I learned the Holy Son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion was killed by someone in Eastern Region. All the evidence is pointing toward the Qingyun sect, and this is big news. The Infinite Alchemy Pavilion is a sacred land, and they take pride in their Holy Son. Does the Qingyun sect really have what it takes to kill him? Jiang Ming asked, his voice filled with shock. Why do I have a feeling that this is just a fake rumor? Honestly, I don't believe it either, Zhang Junbai continued. Although all the evidence is pointing toward the Qingyun sect, I can almost assure you that the murderer is someone else. He paused for a moment before adding, the Holy Son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion is a powerful being. I heard that his guardian is a great monarch in the Primal Spirit realm. To think that a person like him would be killed by someone in silence, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, right, Jiang Ming added. I can assure that whoever killed the Holy Son, they must be an admirable figure with an imposing demeanor. We should make them our model. Yes, they're truly our model. I don't even dare to kill a holy son in my dreams. Chang Yiming licked his lips and said, my dream is getting a holy daughter as my wife. Well, keep dreaming. Zhang Junbai laughed. But a lot of things have been going on Eastern Region lately. You see, the Qingyun sect will certainly pour in every punch of their resources in investigating the matter about the Holy Son's death. The devil sects have started to move again, and a genius from Zhong Province is coming to Eastern Province. I'm sure something big is about to happen in Eastern Region. Well, it's none of our business since we've already cut off our connection to the outside world for the time being, Jiang Ming said. What about the second message? The Bishui sect was annihilated last night, replied Zhang Junbai. They're definitely not weaker than us, yet all of them were killed in one night. I nearly jumped when I heard the news. First, a holy son was killed and now a sect was destroyed. Hell, this is too much. I don't even feel safe anymore staying in the sect. The corner of Jiang Ming's lips quivered. Yiming left. Jiang Ming then looked into the training zone, a newly activated feature of the system. Currently, the function of the training zone was simple. He could enter the training zone with his consciousness to practice the special ability that he had learned. In other words, it was a more advanced martial arts training ground. He then returned to his room, activated a formation, and sat in a lotus position on his bed. He closed his eyes, and by the time he opened them again, he was already inside an empty space. It was a platform, hovering in an endless starry sky. Jiang Ming lifted his head and saw nothing but stars. Then, he lowered his head and noticed that he was standing on top of a not-so-large rock. He took a glance at himself, and he looked exactly the same as when he was outside. Even the Tao seed in the Sea of Consciousness remained the same. It was as if he had manifested his own body in this space. Suddenly, an idea popped up in his mind. He closed his eyes, and then when he opened them again, the environment in front of him changed into that of the Juyang sect. He was now standing on top of Chuyang Peak. He looked around and noticed there were also 8 other main peaks and countless peaks around him. Yang Ming couldn't help himself and commented, terrific. He could change the environment in this space according to his wish. Jiang Ming stepped on the ground and touched the stone. He realized that everything in this space was so real that he couldn't tell the difference between real and fake. He then leaped into the air and formed a seal with his hand. He pointed it downward and a divine seal appeared, instantly covering the things below in an impressive suppression force. The divine seal landed on Chuyang Peak, and an explosion occurred at the moment of collision, giving rise to a storm of dust that covered even the sky. This is great. I can do whatever I want here. Jiang Ming was delighted. He formed multiple hand seals, and divine seals appeared in the sky one after another. He then sent them all plunging downward and decimated the entire Chuyang Peak. He turned his head around and lifted his arm into the air as he activated the 9 Heavens Imperial Lightning. With a stroke of his hand, thunder descended on Zhiyang Peak and drowned the mountain in a mighty roar. The wooden dragon, the slice the heavens sword technique, the 9 heavenly cannons, the 9 divine mountain treasures, the great Akasa formless sword chi, and even the great Akasa divine hand. He performed one special ability after another in this space to his heart's content. In the blink of an eye, he had leveled the entire Juyang sect. This feels so great, Jiang Ming shouted. He had been suppressing himself the whole time he was in Juyang sect. Even if he did go out of Juyang sect once in a while, he was always in a rush, so he couldn't get to enjoy most of the battles. One thing he found out about this space was that he could perform the special abilities as much as he wanted without any fear of exertion, as the special abilities would not consume any mana when he was here. He continued to perform his special abilities again and again. In the end, he found that he had a better understanding of his special abilities. After having his fun, Jiang Ming called his consciousness back to his body. Other than the flow of time, he did not feel anything else. Jiang Ming smiled. Time was flowing slowly. He was improving his understanding of special abilities and Dao seeds. While his enlightening tea leaves and enlightening stones were being depleted at a shocking rate, he had successfully fused the metal, wood, water, fire, and earth Dao seeds together and transformed them into the 5 elemental Dao seeds. The 5 elemental Dao seed was one of the rarest Dao seeds in this world. No, whether it was the record in the sect or the detailed explanations on human cultivation realms written by Master Dao Yan, only one person in 1,000 years might have succeeded in forming the 5 elemental Dao seed, and that was the reason it was one of the hardest Dao seeds to form. After successfully forming the 5 elemental Dao seed, the Yin-Yang Dao seed was slowly taking shape as well. Since he had absorbed the space crystal, Jiang Ming had a better understanding of space. After performing the Great Akasa Formless Sword Key, the Great Akasa Steps, and the Great Akasa Divine Hand in the training zone, he had fully comprehended the spatial Sambodha and successfully formed the spatial Dao seed. The Death Dao seed and Vitality Dao seed had merged together and formed the Life and Death Dao seed. The Great Demolition Sambodha, the Reincarnation Sambodha, the Light and Dark Sambodha, and the True Illusion Sambodha had formed their respective Dao seeds as well. Under the combined effort of enlightening tea leaves and enlightening stones, Jiang Ming had made a couple of breakthroughs. Unfortunately, he still couldn't comprehend the Time Sambodha and the Karma Sambodha. Jiang Ming came out of his seclusion today. He leaped to the roof and turned his head to see that his junior sister was still in seclusion. He could not see his master around, so he figured that he must have gone somewhere else. The glow from the westbound sun had dyed everything in its path red. He took a glance at the back mountain and found that the azure silver grass was almost ready to be harvested. It had been more than a year since his master's purple mansion had recovered. In the past year, Zhang Junbao would bring him news from time to time, and he also learned about the outside world through the record in the Human Paths record. For example, the sect master had broken through the Primal Spirit realm, and the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion and the Qingyun sect were still at war. The Bishui sect had moved their main force to eastern region and had taken High Province from the Tianshui sect. The devil sects were getting more and more active, with more of their disciples appearing in the public. The geniuses from Zhang Province had arrived. As they traveled across eastern region, they defeated one genius in eastern region after another. They were unstoppable. These were the geniuses from Zhang Province, and each of them was supported by a powerful force such as a sacred land, so no one dared to mess with them. Jiang Ming had a basic grasp of the dating system here as well. When he was on the mountain, there were no 4 seasons, and he could not feel the flow of time at all unless something big happened. He did not even make the effort of understanding it. They were now in the year 9994 of the Zhou calendar. The Great Zhou dynasty in Zhang province had been founded nearly 10,000 years ago, and it had become a force as powerful as the sacred land. They were using the Zhou calendar as the main dating system. As for the history further ahead, that's much longer. They were changing the dating system constantly in order to prevent the emergence of mind-numbing dating systems such as the Tianyuan calendar or the divine state calendar that lasted several million or tens of millions of years. It has been 4 years and 9 months since the activation of the system. Jiang Ming did not know if it was a coincidence or not either. In my current realm, I can unify and merge all the spells through the Grand Path Almighty Method Sutra to form the Chaos Dao Seed. However, I only managed to form 5 types of Dao Seed: the Yin-Yang, Life and Death, Reincarnation, Light and Dark, True Illusion, and Great Decimation Dao Seeds are amongst the highest level of Dao Seeds. There are also others such as the Saber, Blade, Fist, Stellar, and Sentience Dao Seeds. The only things I lack right now are the Time and Karma Dao Seeds. However, if I use the 5 elemental Dao Seeds as the foundation, the Yin-Yang Dao Seed as the catalyst, and the Spatial Dao Seed as the support to connect the Reincarnation, Life and Death, Light and Dark, and True Illusion while using the rest as supplements, I can already form the Chaos Dao Seed. It's just that it's incomplete. Jiang Ming was reflecting on his own situation. He was both hesitant and worried. Karma was too difficult to comprehend, and he did not have the faintest inkling of how to do it. Time was the most enigmatic thing in this world, and it was even harder than climbing into the sky to capture it. Jiang Ming did not know what he should do at all. I guess I'll just wait for a little longer. If it doesn't work, I'll settle for what I can get, Jiang Ming said. Suddenly, he jerked his head back and looked toward his junior sister's direction when he sensed a terrifying pure sun Sambodha from her room. Even if there was a formation around her room, it could not prevent him from detecting her changes. This is the pure sun Sambodha, Jiang Ming exclaimed as his eyes glowed. His junior sister had formed the fire Dao seed. but now she had successfully transformed it into the pure Sun Dao seed. It might seem like an easy feat, but in fact it was very difficult even for some geniuses. At present there were not many people in this world who had comprehended the pure Sun Sambodha. This was because everything in this world had both yin and yang. Absorbing the yang energy from the universe to comprehend the Sun Sambodha was already a difficult feat, not to mention that his junior sister's Dao seed had directly evolved from the fire Dao seed. Whoosh! The human path's record was opened once again. Name Z Linglong, gender human, female, cultivation base, Dao seed, realm, background, disciple of the Juyang sex, Chuyang peak, relationship, 95 innate talent, immortal, advanced phoenix bloodline, status. When she was cultivating, her fire Dao seed transformed into the pure Sun Dao seed while her bloodline evolved. At present she has the strongest phoenix warrior body, further amplifying her physical and spell-casting prowess. Jiang Ming couldn't help himself and exclaimed, "While your cultivation base is improving, your body is getting refined as well. You truly are a genius with a lot of luck, junior sister. I must pick up my pace or else I'll get surpassed by her." As the thought surfaced in his mind, he came to the back mountain and looked at the azure silver grass that had already ripened. "I hope I won't be disappointed. If it really doesn't happen, it will be the 5th year in another 3 months. At that time, the rewards will be phenomenal." He decided to harvest the azure silver grass tomorrow. Unfortunately, he couldn't find any azure silver grass king. Jiang Ming made a simple dinner for himself. After eating his food, he earned 5 days' worth of cultivation base. The wind was blowing strong outside, but there was no wind on the inside. The sky was spotted with many stars, and he was so bored that he wished he could take one down to play with it. Swoosh! Since he had nothing to do right now, he opened up the human path's record. Senior sister Momo still retained her cultivation base, but she was told to guard the medicinal field and was not allowed to leave without permission. It was considered a good ending as well. Instead of returning to Red Mountain Palace, Bai Ziji stayed on the east coast. "I must find a chance and get rid of him after I've broken through," said Jiang Ming. Although Jiang Ming was much stronger right now than when he was chased by him, Jiang Ming still did not have the confidence that he could defeat him. A martial artist in the Paradise realm was too powerful. They had the ability to manifest the image of a heavenly cave and affected a wide area. It would be hard to get near to them and kill them in a sneak attack under that kind of condition. Linglong took a deep breath inside the room and opened her eyes. There was a smile tugging at the corner of her lips as she said, "My Dao seed has transformed into the pure Sun Dao seed, and I have the Phoenix warrior body after my bloodline evolved. Taking down a martial artist in the Primal Spirit realm would be a breeze with my special abilities and secret arts." She had been reborn, so she needed to start everything anew. It was harder to refine the bloodline as she needed to do it step by step. On the contrary, raising her realm was much easier. That being said, she still needed to communicate with the universe and accumulate bit by bit after receiving the blessing. After all, there was nothing such as a free lunch in this world. Also, the Juyang sect did not have enough resources to support her. Her current achievement was all thanks to the Tomb of Extreme Path of Yun Tiankong that she had come across last time. Otherwise, she reckoned that she would have needed to take a longer time to reach what she had today. Absorbing the essence of the universe into one's body to become one with nature. This is cultivation. After being reborn, she had a better understanding of cultivation than she was used to in the past. The next step is to transform extreme yang into extreme yin, comprehend the yin-yang Sambodha, and form the yin-yang Dao seed. This way, only I can go farther without any worries in the future. Then, Linglong's eyes glittered. There was a subtle spatial wave and a Dao rhythm around her, but all of them eventually fell silent. She had a clear plan for her future. Linglong came down from her bed and walked to the window. She opened the window and looked at her senior brother who was standing on the rooftop in front of her. The hard lines on her face melted away and a gentle expression appeared. "I can abandon everyone, but I will never abandon my senior brother," Linglong mumbled. At that moment, nothing was more important than her senior brother. "Senior brother," she shouted while approaching him. The night sky was boundless, and the stars were dancing here and there happily. Both of them sat on rattan chairs and looked at the starry sky. "How is your cultivation going?" "Great. Senior brother, you've already perfected the foundation establishment realm, so when are you going to step into the golden core realm?" "That can wait. Let me know when you're going to break into the golden core realm. I'll guard you." "Thank you, Linglong. That's really assuring." Both of them chatted and time flew past rapidly. The next day at the back of the mountain, "Senior brother, this is so awesome. All of the blades of azure silver grass have ripened," Linglong exclaimed as she hopped here and there amongst the blades of grass, looking just like a happy rabbit. "I've heard that it's challenging to raise spiritual medicine. Not only do we have to ward the pests off, but we also need to pay attention to the changes of spiritual essence in the air. We even need to sprinkle crushed spirit crystals on them as nourishment and water them frequently. However, even if we've done everything, we can't guarantee the survival rate. Well, since I have a lot of time, I might as well put it to good use, Jiang Ming replied simply. However, what he did not tell Linglong was that raising spiritual medicine was really a tedious process. Just like a farmer taking care of his crops, he had to come to the back mountain every day to check on their condition from time to time and to stop the pests from destroying these spiritual medicines. The silver lining was that his effort had finally paid off and he could harvest them now. Senior brother, while you're cultivating these spiritual medicines, you still manage to make time to prepare meals for me every day, brew wine, take care of the crops, and you even have entered the peak of the foundation establishment realm. If anyone still dares to say you're slow in your cultivation, I'm going to bring him to the restraining tower, Linglong said in a serious manner. You're a girl, and as a girl you need to be more gentle. Besides, I'm your senior brother, so of course I can't be too useless, or else I'll be in a lot of stress. Jiang Ming smiled and shook his head. Senior brother, you just live your life as you wish and leave everything else to me, Linglong said as she patted her chest. You really have a honey tongue, do you know that? Hee, I know I have a honey tongue, but how did you know that, senior brother? Ahem, stop making fun of me. Alright. What should we do with these blades of azure silvergrass, senior brother? Well, I have no idea yet. As they were talking, they had finished harvesting the azure silvergrass. Some of them had wilted, so they got 2,600 blades of azure silvergrass in the end. Congratulations to the host on his first massive harvest of entry-grade spiritual medicine. A special reward of 2,600 years of cultivation base and a 3-minute extreme path experience card has been given to the host as rewards. Jiang Ming blinked his eyes. Although he seemed emotionless on the surface, he was greatly surprised inwardly. I can't believe I got so many years of cultivation as a reward. Is it because this is my first time? He thought. He then commanded, and the information about the 3-minute extreme path experience card appeared in his mind. Realfully extreme path realm. Once activated, it cannot be stopped, and the host will be granted the battle power of the extreme path realm for 3 minutes. Using me as a template? Jiang Ming exclaimed, disbelief thick in his voice. Judging from his current situation, if he could have the power of the extreme path realm, he was confident that he could slay even a martial artist in the imminent immortal realm. He felt this was really a great item, but it was such a shame that it lasted for 3 minutes. Why can't it last for a bit longer? This is no fun at all, he thought. Senior brother, are we still going to grow the azure silver grass? Linglong asked as she looked at the harvest in front of her. Nope. Let's wait for a while. As soon as Jiang Ming finished speaking, he caught a glimpse of a figure through the corner of his eyes. He turned his head and realized that it was Zhang Junbao. He was waving his hand as he approached them. Senior brother? Did something happen? Jiang Ming asked as he went closer to Zhang Junbao. Linglong followed suit as well. A big thing happened, Zhang Junbai replied. He did not go into the courtyard. Instead, he stood at the reception platform and smiled bitterly. Someone challenged junior sister Linglong to a battle. I thought we closed our mountain? Jiang Ming frowned. They're from Zhang province. They have a big background, so do you think we can say no when they said they wanted to pay us a visit? No, we can't, Zhang Junbai said helplessly. Their objective is simple. They heard that junior sister Linglong has the Phoenix bloodline, so they want to have a match with her. They told us that they would like to have a match with every genius or people with special bloodlines in Eastern region. Our sect master is already in the Primal Spirit realm. He can't stop them? Linglong chimed in, frowning deeply. Zhang Junbao shook his head. We're going up against the 18th prince of the Great Zhou dynasty. Not only is he surrounded by a martial artist in the Primal Spirit realm and many other geniuses, but there are also many powerful beings protecting him from the dark. Our sect master has rejected their demand, but they refuse to listen. They have defeated many sects and powerful clans as they travel across the continent. Nobody can defeat them. Are they really that powerful? Jiang Ming asked. They're not only powerful, they're monsters, Zhang Junbai added. A few of the youngsters that follow the 18th prince have already conquered our Tower of Trials, and they're only in the Golden Core realm. Jiang Ming was rendered speechless. In the Zhuyang sect, only his junior sister had managed to conquer the Tower of Trials, but now these outsiders could clear it without any difficulty? This was absolutely a disgrace. Senior brother, should I go meet them? Linglong asked as she looked into the distance. Jiang Ming was looking in the same direction as well. They saw many figures flying toward the main peak. In particular, one of them exuded such a domineering aura that it would make everything lower their head in obedience and yield to him. Cultivation method. Grand Path Almighty method sutra spells. Primal Spirit Heart Sword. 10,000 Sword Technique. Basic formations. Basic talismans. Basic pills, basic artifacts. Special power. Great Akasa Formless Sword Chi. Great Akasa Steps. Great Akasa Divine Hand. 9 Divine Mountain Treasures. Great Manifestation Technique. 9 Heavens Imperial Lightning. Wooden Dragon. Slice the Heavens Sword Technique. Heaven Suppression Divine Seal. Threefold Astral. Transformation. 9 Heavenly Cannons and Orbital Sword Formation. Innate Talent Immortal. Primary Taoist Body Items. Human Path Records. Life and Death Disillusionment Formation Disc. Mana Sealing Chestplate. Top Grade Tao Vessel. Tyrant Halberd. Middle Grade Tao Vessel. Sky Rending Sword. Middle Grade Tao Vessel. Heaven Shattering Hammer. Low Grade Tao Vessel. Obsidian Black. Low Grade Tao Vessel. Heaven Suppression Cauldron. Top Grade Artifact X4. Cultivation Base X5 through 600. One-time use Enlightening Stone. Rare Grade X5. Enlightening Tea Tree Seed. Immortal Grade X1. 3-minute Extreme Path Experience Card Support. Primary Training Zone. The interface of the system had changed. There was a support section right now. It stated that it was still a primary training zone. Besides, he was running out of enlightening tea leaves and he had only 5 enlightening stones left. He had a shocking amount of 5,600 years of cultivation base in reserve, but unfortunately the cultivation base had little use in forming Dao seeds. Jiang Ming took a glance at his record and suddenly felt that the 18th prince was nothing. He would leave him alone if he did not do anything stupid, but if he wanted to court death, Jiang Ming would get rid of him and send him to make friends with Bai Yu without any hesitation. In the blink of an eye, a group of people arrived and landed on the platform. They were accompanied by the sect master as well as his own master. There were other 20 to 30 young men, and Jiang Ming reckoned that they must be Zhou Tian and his gang. Jiang Ming took a look at the sect master's status. It was recorded that Zhou Tian, the 18th prince, had challenged the Zhuyang sect to a fight, but none of the people in Zhuyang sect posed an actual challenge to them. He then insisted on meeting Linglong. The sect master had tried his best to talk him out of it, but he refused to. In the end, the sect master had no other choice but to bring him and his party to Quyang Peak since they couldn't wait any longer to meet her. Greetings, sect master. Yang Ming greeted the sect master while taking the opportunity to take on the crowd behind him. Some of them had their arms crossed in front of their chests, while the others held their hands behind their backs. There were even a few of them who lifted their chins and looked at them condescendingly with a smile on their faces. They all had different looks, but they had one thing in common: arrogance. Amongst them, Zhou Tian had the most domineering and powerful aura. He did not even take a single effort to tone down his aura, and he looked just like a divine mountain that gave off a silvery light. Jiang Ming, meet Zhou Tian, the 18th prince of the great Zhou dynasty. He's in the Dao Seed realm, and this is the first time he came to Quyang Peak, so remember to behave yourself. The sect master mentioned Zhou Tian's origin and cultivation base while he was introducing him to Jiang Ming, for he was worried that Jiang Ming would do something inappropriate. Nice to meet you, senior brother Zhou, said Jiang Ming. Zhou Tian threw a glance at him, and then he looked at Linglong. Jiang Ming maintained the smile on his face, while Linglong's eyes turned icily cold. A young man beside Zhou Tian roared, "So you're Linglong's rumored good-for-nothing senior brother? You're in no position to call the 18th prince as your senior brother. Get the hell out of the way now." Jiang Ming's face sank while Gu Hai's face turned red with anger. The sect master frowned as well. Linglong was infuriated. Before anyone could do anything, she appeared right in front of the young man and gave him a slap in the face, sending him flying into the air as he spat a few bloodied teeth out of his mouth. Unfortunately, this was not the end yet. She leaped into the air, grabbed the young man, and pinned him on the ground, forcing him to kneel before Jiang Ming. Then, she said with an apathetic voice, "What did you say just now?" Everyone was taken aback by the sudden change of events. Gu Hai opened his mouth several times, but he did not say anything in the end. He knew better than anyone how much she cared about her senior brother, and she cared about her senior brother more than she cared about his master. Therefore, humiliating him in front of the public was similar to courting death. Although Zhang Junbao felt the young man deserved it, he was worried about Linglong. The sect master squinted his eyes. As for Zhou Tian, something flickered across his eyes as he was surprised. "How dare you?" Another young man behind him stepped forward. He activated his special abilities, forming a rain of light in the air before throwing them all together at Linglong. "Watch out!" Some of the disciples who did not know about Linglong's situation exclaimed in fear and anxiety. Smack! In the next moment, she lifted her hand without turning her head and destroyed the rain of light. At the same time, she sent the young man flying down the mountain. Had it not been for his comrade to save him, he would have fallen to his death. "That's enough," Zhou Tian growled as he took a step forward. He unleashed a wave of powerful aura, causing a few first seats to take a few steps back. "Let go of Chen Liang." Linglong pushed Jiang Ming to her back and glanced at Zhou Tian. She then turned toward the kneeling young man and asked again, "What did you say just now?" It was only then Chen Liang came around to his senses. He was surprised at first, and then his face contorted in a grimace of anger. "How dare you make me kneel in front of everyone? Ah, nobody has ever done this to me. I'm going to kill you." I'm going to shred you into a million pieces." In the next second, Linglong pumped more force into her palm, sending the young man deeper into the ground. His kneecaps cracked, and blood was pooling under his body. Chen Liang grunted in pain and became even angrier. "I'll never forget what you've done to me today. I swear to heaven that I'll get it back from your senior brother one day. I'll torture him and humiliate him to the point that you won't even be able to recognize who he is." Linglong's eyes turned cold. Gu Hai's expression changed, and he shouted, "No, stop it." Zhu Tian growled as he knew that Linglong was going to kill Chen Lang. He waved his hand and threw sword energy at her, but Linglong easily intercepted his attack with just a flip of her hand. After that, she delivered a palm strike at the young man with her right hand, crushing the arrogant young man into the ground. Light immediately left his eyes, and he died wearing a look of disbelief on his face. It was never in his wildest dreams that Linglong would be this powerful and that she would really want to kill him. After all, he came from Zhang province and had a big background. Ever since they had landed in Eastern region, all of the clans and sects had treated them with high regard. Nobody dared to talk back to them, let alone take their lives. Therefore, he became more and more arrogant, and finally it was his arrogance that got him killed. The crowd gasped at the gruesome scene. Shen Liang's body had turned into a bloodied mush after receiving the mana-imbued blow from Linglong. "Terrific. As expected of the owner of the Phoenix bloodline," Zhu Tian exclaimed. Then, he roared, "How dare you kill one of my own? Linglong, if you don't give me a proper explanation, I'm going to put you down today." "An explanation?" Linglong said, her face cold. "You're stepping on the territory of Quyang Peak, which belongs to my senior brother. However, instead of behaving decently, you humiliated and insulted him. Do you really think you can do whatever you want to the sects in Eastern region just because you came from Zhang province? Fat chance. Besides, it was him who humiliated my senior brother in the first place, and there is only one end for those who dare to talk that way to my senior brother: death." "Zhou Tian, if you don't give me a proper explanation, I'm going to kill all of you here today." After she finished speaking, she was cloaked in a menacing aura, and everyone could sense her killing intent. "Great, great. Linglong, you truly are one ruthless and determined woman. Initially, I thought you were only in the Golden Core realm, and I wanted to take you in as one of us. I didn't expect that you had ascended into the Dao Seed realm. The speed of your cultivation is so fast that few people can match you even in Zhang province," Zhou Tian said as he lifted his brow. "We've yet to come across any worthy opponents ever since we stepped into this land. Fueled by our achievement, we become more and more arrogant and consider everybody and everything beneath us. Although we're wrong, you can't blame us since we have never been defeated before. Today, if you can defeat me, I'll apologize to you. But if you lose, you're going to come with me." The 18th Prince of the Great Zhou Dynasty relationship, -22 innate talent, 9 stars, primary true dragon bloodline status. After learning about the downfall of Bai Yu, the holy son of the infinite alchemy pavilion in the hand of a martial artist in Eastern region, as the one who was blessed by heaven, he departed from Zhang province and came to Eastern region. While he was planning to lift his popularity, he also aimed to get to know more talented people so that he could recruit them to expand his own team. After setting foot in Eastern region, he had been going around and challenging young people below the age of 100. He had yet to be defeated, and his team was unstoppable. When he heard that the owner of the Phoenix bloodline was in the Juyang sect, he was overjoyed and wanted to recruit her. If it were in the past, Jiang Ming might be scrupulous, but after obtaining the Extreme Path experience card, he did not care so much anymore. Unfortunately, the Extreme Path experience card only lasted for 3 minutes, not to mention that it was a one-time use item. After using it, he wouldn't be able to use it anymore. Relationship -22, huh? He seems like someone who has some heroic ingredients in his composition, but oh well. Jiang Ming shook his head inwardly after he checked Zhou Tian's information through the Human Path's record. That being said, he was not going to let him off so easily since he had the nerves to set his eyes on his junior sister. Compete with young people below the age of 100? 100 years old is still considered a young person? Jiang Ming was confused. This was one fascinating aspect of the cultivation world. One could increase their lifespan through cultivation. Therefore, a person under the age of 100 could still be considered a young person as well. His face sank after he heard what Zhou Tian said. However, he did not step forward. He had faith in his junior sister that she could handle the situation, but in the case where the situation went out of her control, he would step in. "Ha, how arrogant." Linglong commented coldly, "You did something wrong, so it's only right and natural for you to apologize, but now you want to use it as a bet? You will apologize if I can defeat you, and I have to come with you if you win the match? Who do you think you are?" Zhou Tian's face turned ugly, and an intense murderous intent appeared in the depth of his eyes. He was a prince, and his status was comparable to that of a holy son. He had never been insulted like this before in his life. She's just a little girl. Who does she think she is, he thought. Be that as it may, he was not going to lash out at her since he had his pride as a prince. However, that was not the same case for the people behind him. One of his followers jumped and growled, "How dare you insult the prince? You must have a death wish." He was a martial artist in the nascent soul realm, and he could not forgive Zi Linglong for the things she said to Zhou Tian. Swoosh! Without any hesitation, he split his sword into 8 and surrounded Zi Linglong. Hu Hai's expression changed. Zhang Junbao clenched his fists tightly, and the sect master gathered his power within his body, while Jiang Ming looked at the man coldly. Although his junior sister was only in the Dao Seed realm, she had formed the Yang Dao Seed. It was immensely powerful, and combined with the legacy she had acquired from the Tomb of Extreme Path, even if she couldn't kill the man, it wouldn't be a problem for her to defend herself. Zi Linglong summoned a sword in her hand without any hesitation. She brandished it in an upward slash, and 9 globes of sun appeared in the air. The intense heat released by the suns distorted the air and seemed to be able to burn everything down. After effortlessly deflecting the man's attack, she continued to dash toward him. Oh no! The man's expression changed. He wanted to run, but he was surrounded by the 9 globes of sun. It was already too late to activate his special abilities, so he could only resort to using his armor to protect himself. Bam! Zi Linglong's sword landed on the man, causing his armor to glow brightly as he was sent flying away. Zi Linglong was not going to show any mercy. She closed the distance between them in a few steps and delivered several quick blows, one stronger than the last, at the man with her sword. She was moving so fast that the crowd could barely catch her movements. All of them took a few steps back and guarded themselves. By the time they could finally see her, the fight was coming to an end. She penetrated through the man's armor with her sword. The 9 globes of sun entered his body, and he exploded in a plume of blood mist. Zi Linglong killed a martial artist in the nascent soul realm within the blink of an eye. It was an extraordinary feat, and the crowd was dumbfounded. Even the sect master couldn't believe what had just transpired before his eyes. He had the confidence to defeat the man, but that was all he could do. He did not think he could kill him at all. However, not only did Zi Linglong defeat him, but she also managed to kill him effortlessly. Even if the man had underestimated her, it was still very unlikely for her to kill him. Unless Zi Linglong had grown far more powerful than he had expected her to be. How dare you! Zhou Tian's eyes were burning with rage when he saw another of his followers getting killed. The gold-black robe he was wearing glowed divinely and made him look even more impressive. How dare you kill my fellow followers again? Zi Linglong, you've broken the rules. As Zhou Tian was talking, a halberd appeared in his hand, making him look even more powerful. Rays of golden light were fanning out from the top of his head, and he looked just like a god of war. Rules? Did you follow our rules after you came here? Zi Linglong turned her sword around and said, "Get the hell out of here now, or else this place will be your grave today." Jiang Ming stepped forward and patted her shoulder. "Junior sister, you mustn't let the demon in your heart get the best of you. It's not good for your cultivation." "Did I make a mistake, senior brother?" Zi Linglong turned around and asked in a soft, worried voice. The murderous aura she exuded disappeared in that instant, and she blinked her eyes as she looked at Jiang Ming. Everyone was shocked at the sudden change. "Nope, you didn't do anything wrong." Jiang Ming laughed. "As a fellow cultivator, you shouldn't feel bad when it comes to killing. Besides, those 2 people made a mistake and they deserved what they got. Of course, we shouldn't just go around and take lives as we wish. Some of these people didn't show any malice toward us, nor did they insult us, so we shouldn't kill them. As for the 18th prince, although he came to challenge us, if we kill him here, it will put the Juyang sect in a difficult position and will affect our reputation. After all, we aren't a devil sect and we need to keep our name clean. Most importantly, we must not let them affect our feelings. No matter who they are or what they came for, they're just guests, and there is a probability that we might not be seeing each other again for the rest of our lives. Therefore, you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, and you must not let them affect your emotions. In the future, kill those who should be killed, and treat it as if you're crushing a bug. You don't need to have any hard feelings for yourself, and you don't have to take them too seriously," Yang Ming said while sighing inwardly. It would be bad for his junior sister to have such a strong killing intent. Therefore, he figured that he should find a way and lead her back to the right path. After all, other than taking one's life, they could just lock them up in a place like the restraining tower. The crowd gasped when they heard what Jiang Ming said. Although he seemed like he was lecturing Zi Linglong, it occurred to them that he was telling her to treat those people she wanted to kill like bugs so that she wouldn't get affected after killing them. Even Gu Hai felt a chill running down his spine. "Okay, senior brother, I'll think of them as bugs before I kill them," Zi Linglong replied and nodded seriously. "I'll get rid of them now before they become bugs and affect your mood." "Smart girl," Jiang Ming nodded in relief. "This is all thanks to you, senior brother," Zi Linglong replied, offering him a sweet smile. Zhang Junbao, who was standing at the side, opened and closed his mouth several times. He wanted to say something, but he swallowed the words back to his stomach pit in the end. Zhou Tian was infuriated after listening to the conversation between Jiang Ming and Zi Linglong. His face was livid with rage as he hissed, "Juyang sect, all of you are the most brazen bunch of people I've ever seen. I'll take that as a compliment, Zi Linglong said as she turned around, her face cold. Now, back to the topic. You're here for a challenge, yet you acted like a bully and refused to follow the rules. Not only that, but you even humiliated the owner of this land. Either you get the hell out of my face now, or I'm going to kick your ass. As soon as she had finished speaking, she darted straight toward Zhou Tian. She lifted her sword and the 9 globes of sun once again appeared in the sky. When they were descending, the destructive power they brought forth made people feel as if they could incinerate everything in their path, regardless of the mountain, the sea, or the sky. Zi Linglong, Zhou Tian shouted fiercely, I'm going to kill you. In the blink of an eye, their battle started. Zhou Tian was wearing the low-grade black gold arcane armor and holding the heavenly polearm, a low-grade Dao vessel. He then activated the Great Polearm Tyrant technique. It was the powerful special ability that the royal family of the Great Zhou dynasty used to conquer the land. His aura surged and it made him look even stronger. He would have made quick work of his opponent, but unfortunately his opponent today was Zi Linglong. When comparing special abilities alone, even Jiang Ming was no match for her. Even if she just used a few of her special abilities, she was still very impressive. Bam! Zhou Tian fell from the sky and crashed on the peak of a mountain. When the dragon gets furious, the sky will be stained with blood. He leaped into the air, his eyes spewing fire. His long hair and armor fluttered along with the wind as he shouted, Great polearm heaven strike, bring down the foe. His power surged following the incantation. He charged straight at Zi Linglong with all his might, but he was sent flying away again. Next, Zhou Tian kept getting beaten to the ground again and again. In the end, his hair was disheveled, and there was blood lining the corner of his lips. Even the divine light around him had dimmed down. This is the 9th time, Zi Linglong said as she looked coldly at him. If you come at me again, you'll become a bug. If you become a bug, I'll have to kill you. If not, you'll affect my emotions. Something inside Zhou Tian's head snapped, and he shouted at the top of his lungs in rage. Ever since he was born, he had been highly admired. He cultivated quickly and was known as a prodigy. Besides, he had never lost to anyone, except for a few people. Even if he lost a battle, he had never been humiliated like this before. In his eyes, the Zhuyang sect was just a second-rate sect. He looked down on them and barged in forcefully in an attempt to recruit Zi Linglong, but now, he was getting his ass kicked. His hand that was holding the polearm was shaking, his bones were broken, and he was confident that his organs must have sustained a great amount of damage. Be that as it may, he was not going to give up just yet. Just when he was about to throw himself at Zi Linglong again, a hand appeared on his hand and stopped him. Your Highness, please stop. Uncle Chang, Zhou Tian was so exasperated that he was on the verge of crying. You've lost, Your Highness. This is not something humiliating. Bai Yu was a powerful being who reigned over Zhong province, but he still met his demise in eastern region. Back then, the eldest prince was known as the most talented martial artist, yet he was defeated again and again when he attempted to overpower his peers. There are countless talented people in this world, and nobody dares to say they are the strongest. Your Highness, it's only through defeat that you can truly accomplish self-realization. What you should do right now is go back, put more effort into your training, and come back to challenge them again one day, the elder man said, his voice filled with wisdom. You know it. You know why I came here? Zhou Tian said, I just can't accept it. If I lose today, can I still defeat her in the future? She's not even 20 years old. The corner of the elder man's lips quivered, but he still forced a smile on his face. She's able to step into the Dao Seed realm despite her young age, defeated you, and killed a martial artist in the nascent soul realm. Can't you see it yet, Your Highness? She's an unparalleled prodigy who's favored by heaven, and she's bound to achieve something great in the future. Your Highness, you should consider yourself fortunate to have run into such a person today. After all, regardless of sparring or sharing experience, I'm sure she will be of great help to you in the future. You're the prince of the great Zhou dynasty. You're broad-minded and ambitious. If Kang could bring all the outstanding people under your command, I'm certain you'll be able to forge your own great achievements one day. This time, he talked to him through mind transmission. You're right, Zhou Tian pouted. His expression changed and he had returned to his normal self. Divine light began to radiate from him, and he finally calmed down. Opposite of them, at the moment the elder man appeared, the sect master had arrived beside Zi Linglong too. Even Dongfang Lai, the first seed of Liang Peak, and Hao Chen, the first seed of Xiaofeng Peak, flew and stood behind Zi Linglong. I lost, Zhou Tian announced after taking a deep breath. He offered Zi Linglong a big grin and continued. Amongst the geniuses I've come across, you definitely are the best. I lost today, but I'll come back again. He paused for a moment and threw a medicinal herb to Zi Linglong. This is the gift of compensation. I'll be taking my leave now. Farewell. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. The rest of the people who followed him looked at each other with strange expressions on their faces as they left the scene one after another. Thanks for your time. The elder man known as Uncle Chang made a bow at the sect master before leaving. The sect master heaved out a long sigh of relief. No one knew how stressed he was just now, but luckily everything had come to an end now. Great work, Linglong, the sect master said with a smile. I'm sorry for making you worry about me, sect master, Linglong replied. She grabbed the medicinal herb and came to Jiang Ming's side. She hugged his arm and said softly, Senior brother, I didn't do anything wrong, right? You've done a great job, Yang Ming laughed. Zhou Tian may seem fine on the surface, but I'm sure he must hate you to the core since you've made him look like a clown in front of his followers. We can't do anything to him since there are so many people watching. If no one was watching, we would have gotten rid of him already. You're right. Let's find a chance and get rid of him in the future. Linglong nodded. The mouths of the crowd twitched vigorously after they heard the conversation between Linglong and Jiang Ming, especially the sect master. He was a little bit worried about the future of the Zhuyang sect, and he could foresee that she would get herself into a lot of trouble in the future if she did not change her attitude. The great Zhou dynasty must have an army of martial artists in the Paradise, Extreme Path, or Imminent Immortal Realm, and they said they could kill Zhou Tian if nobody was watching? What kind of joke was that? After the death of the Holy Son of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion, even the Qingyun sect had a hard time dealing with the two powerful beings they sent after them, and the Qingyun sect was a sacred land. How about the Zhuyang sect? Even if they just spit at them, they could easily drown them. Gu Hai, you have to guide her properly. The sect master sent a mind transmission to Gu Hai. She's still young, and if she's guided properly, she will bring the Zhuyang sect to a whole new level. However, if she killed Zhou Tian today, all of us would need to run for our lives. Don't worry, Gu Hai stammered. I'll try my best. Try your best? No, you have to do it. This is related to the future of the Zhuyang sect. If you cannot guide her properly, you will be condemned as a sinner through the ages. However, if you can guide her properly, you will be highly regarded for the rest of your life, the sect master said. Just let me know if you need anything. Honestly, she just listens to Jiang Ming alone. But he's your disciple too. But that brat, he looks gentle and kind on the surface, but he's very cunning and sly. I don't have the confidence to make him listen to me. What else can you do if you can't even control your own disciple? All right, leave it to me. Both of them then ended their conversation. The rest of the people started leaving one by one as well. While they were leaving, their eyes were filled with admiration and wonder as they looked at Linglong. She did not hesitate even for the slightest moment when she was taking someone else's life, but she acted as docile and obedient like a kitten in front of her senior brother, who was only in the Foundation establishment realm. That said, they were still very surprised that Linglong had ascended into the Dao Seed realm. Jiang Ming and his junior sister returned to the courtyard hand in hand. Suddenly, the human path's record opened up before him. Name Zhou Tian, race, human gender, male, cultivation base, Dao Seed realm background. The 18th prince of the great Zhou dynasty relationship. -77 innate talent, 9 stars, primary true dragon bloodline. Status, attacked Linglong in a fit of rage after 2 of his followers were killed. However, he was defeated swiftly and got even angrier. Although he was pacified by Chang Tian in the end and pretended to be the bigger man, he still harbors hatred against Linglong. Jiang Ming ingrained Zhou Tian's condition deeply in his heart. Since their relationship had dropped to -77, it meant if Zhou Tian had the chance, he would kill him without any hesitation. If he hated him so much, then how about his junior sister who defeated him? He must hate her to the core, right? Life is so wonderful. So why must you have a death wish? Is it really bad to stay alive? Jiang Ming shook his head. The pages flipped and the record of another person appeared. Name Kangyun, race, human gender, male, cultivation base, primal spirit realm background. An elder of the great Zhou dynasty relationship, 39 innate talent, 9 stars status, secretly protects Zhou Tian, the 18th prince. When he witnessed Linglong's might, he exclaimed inwardly, expressing his disbelief at the emergence of a golden phoenix inside of a mountain. When he saw how exasperated Zhou Tian was after he was defeated, he sighed inwardly. Although he knew the prince wouldn't listen to him, he still tried his best to pacify him. He told him to stay low profile and be humble since he was in a foreign land. After all, even if he was a prince, he would still be killed or assassinated if he accidentally ran into a ruthless person. At that time, even the great Zhou dynasty wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Besides, if he really wanted other people to come under his command, he needed to be humble and open-minded. If he couldn't do that, then how was he going to make other people come under his command? Wasn't it nonsense? Sigh. I've done everything I needed to do. It's up to him now. It can record other people's inner thoughts too? Jiang Ming was amazed. He couldn't understand how the status worked at all. Sometimes it would be very short, but other times it would be very detailed. That said, it seemed to him that this elder man known as Kangyun was rather open-minded. It was just such a shame that he followed a short-sighted master. While Jiang Ming was thinking, he came to the courtyard. He made a pot of tea, poured out a cup, and handed it to his master. After that, he sat next to his master with his junior sister while waiting for his master to start talking. You've done an awesome job today, Linglong. Guhai said after sipping from the cup of tea and clearing his throat. Master, junior sister has made you proud, hasn't she? Jiang Ming chimed in and smiled. The 18th prince of the Great Zhou dynasty has a high social status, not to mention that he's really strong. He has never been defeated ever since he stepped into Eastern region. But what happened to him after he came to the Zhu sect? He got his cess kicked by my junior sister. From today onward, everyone will look at you from a different perspective. You must be an immortal sage for being able to raise an impressive disciple like my junior sister. An immortal sage? Guhai's eyes glowed up and he nodded happily. However, when he saw the expression on his disciple's face through the corner of his eyes, his face sank. Don't you ever try to change the topic, kid. I'm sure that with your intelligence, you know what problem we're going to face next, right? Keeping the smile on her face, Linglong looked at them and listened. What problem? Jiang Ming handed a cup of tea to his junior sister. He then lifted his own cup and took a sip before continuing. Are you worried that Zhou Tian will come back to get his revenge? Don't worry, I'm sure he won't do that. After all, he's a prince, and it will only tarnish his reputation if he really comes to attack us in secret. Besides, they have set up a rule from the moment they stepped into Eastern region, and that is that the people from the older generation are prohibited from joining the fight. In this case, nobody can defeat my junior sister. If you're talking about the people from the devil sects, then you can rest assured. Nobody could tell how many powerful beings exist in Eastern region. All we can say is that there are a lot of them, and they are all hiding in the dark, waiting for the right opportunity to make a name for themselves. Nobody would dare to kill a young prodigy openly, not even the devil sects. This is because arousing a nest of hornets is the last thing they want to do. Therefore, just have more faith in your disciple, master, Jiang Ming said. Of course I have faith in my disciple, Guhai said. But the Zhu sect is after all a small sect. We can't afford the consequences of messing with the wrong person. Besides, even if everything you said makes sense, what if they come back to get their revenge after everyone has forgotten about it? At that time, my junior sister will have become even stronger, and I'm sure she can protect us. Are you sure about that? Although it seems like she's making a lot of progress, no one knows when she'll stop. If that happens, what should we do? What about your junior sister? What about you? What about me? And what about the sect? Have you forgotten about me, master? Jiang Ming said as he gulped the cup of tea in one sitting. Looking at her senior brother, Linglong was stunned. She did not know why, but it appeared to her that her senior brother had suddenly become very confident. He looked as if he could solve every curveball that life threw at him. She even began to wonder about the possibility of her senior brother coming across a certain opportunity because of her. However, she soon rejected the thought. After all, her senior brother had never left the mountain before. You? Guhai scoffed. If we have to depend on you, we might as well disband the entire sect. He turned his head around to look at Linglong and said, in the future, if you're challenged by other people again, can you promise me that you won't simply kill someone like what you did today? Linglong blinked her eyes and looked at Jiang Ming. Of course, Jiang Ming nodded. After all, we're a righteous sect. We won't simply go around taking other people's lives, and we will only kill someone when we're pushed to the corner. Also, we must not show any mercy toward our enemies. Okay, Linglong nodded obediently. Guhai opened his mouth and stroked his beard. He was rendered speechless. Initially, he wanted to tell Linglong that she shouldn't take someone else's life even if they were the enemy. However, he was worried that it might upset her and make her feel disappointed in him. That said, what if she accidentally provoked a being stronger than her after killing someone? Guhai was torn. He looked at Jiang Ming, who was sipping on his tea and harumph. Go prepare something for me to eat. I want 32 dishes. If I don't like any of the dishes, I'll hit you with my whip 10 times. Linglong covered her mouth and giggled. Jiang Ming was rendered speechless. He rose to his feet and went into the kitchen. After all, there was nothing he could do other than follow his master's orders. Seeing how obedient Jiang Ming was, Guhai felt delighted. After finishing their meal, Linglong took the precious medicinal herb out. It was the top-grade jet black blue. The aroma it emitted could calm one's mind and cleanse one's thoughts. It was a good thing to use during cultivation. Linglong gave it to her master. Guhai refused to take it, but Linglong insisted. In the end, he planted it in a jade flower pot and scattered a few high-grade spirit crystals around it as nutrients. He then placed it at the courtyard, and the air was instantly pervaded by a strong aroma. Jiang Ming knew that his master was doing this for both of them as well. The next day, as they expected, a disciple from a family in Zhong province came to them and challenged Linglong to a fight. He was strong. Should we decline the challenge? But since we accepted the challenge yesterday, it wouldn't make sense if we refused to accept any challenge today. How about letting other disciples accept the challenge? That wouldn't work either. The challenger is a martial artist in the Dao Seed realm. So should I send elders or first seats to accept the challenge? Nope, that's a no-go, the sect master thought. He could sense that someone was watching them from the dark, and he felt a chill travel down his spine. Leaving with no other options, he went to Chuyang Peak and looked for Linglong. Without a doubt, Linglong defeated the challenger effortlessly. There were challengers every day for the next 3 days. Jiang Ming was annoyed, let alone Linglong. After she defeated another challenger, Jiang Ming gathered up Chang Yiming, Zhang Junbao, and Huo Yun to discuss how they should deal with those challengers. They couldn't reject the challenge, but it would bring them even more problems if Linglong kept on winning and attracting more and more attention. How about pretending to be defeated? To lose on purpose was to humiliate others. After all, it was an open challenge. We're already in the eye of the storm and there's nothing we can do. Huo Yun, the first seat of Liang Peak, frowned and said, "Go into seclusion?" Considering those people's attitudes, they might cause havoc in our sect to force Linglong to come out and fight them. She can't leave the sect either. After all, there are so many people keeping an eye on her, and leaving the sect now is like walking straight into a snake pit. However, if we keep accepting the challenge, it will only attract more people to come and challenge her. This is hard. Judging from the current situation, we can only accept the challenge, Zhang Junbao said. But how can we make it work in our favor? Simple, Chang Yiming said as an evil smile appeared on his chubby face. I have a plan. Chang Yiming's plan was simple. It was to set up an arena and select the strongest genius among them. By then, naturally, there wouldn't be that many people coming up the mountains to disturb them. Huo Yun was doubtful. Is this feasible? Firstly, our sect isn't a sacred land, and secondly, we don't have a widespread talented genius. If you set up an arena, how would anyone acknowledge us? Zhang Junbao agreed. You've got a point there. The talented are mostly arrogant. If they came, would they be willing to wait for the other talented ones to fight for the rankings? Of course they wouldn't. Since the ranking does not have enough acknowledgement from others, they'd rather directly challenge Linglong herself. Our sect is still too weak, Chang Yiming lamented. Everyone kept their silence. In the past, Mu Shuiyun had forced her way into the Zhuyang sect just because her son died. She wanted to sacrifice the innocent disciples for her son's burial. A few days ago, the 18th prince of Great Zhou dynasty did not care to get permission before barging into Chuyang Peak. It all came down to the same thing. The sect was too weak. Linglong kept quiet the whole time, with her eyes glistening in purity, listening to the whole discussion. Seeing everyone kept quiet, she blinked and muttered, "Then what should we do?" Zhang Junbao sighed. Although Linglong has a high cultivation base, she's not even in her 20s, and yet she has to face such problems. We and our masters cannot help out much. I'm quite disappointed in myself. I used to proclaim myself to be a genius, but when it matters the most, I cannot help out one bit. Huo Yun and Chang Yiming were both bitter and astringent. Jiang Ming, who kept silent the whole time, finally spoke up. Senior Jiang, this isn't your fault. He then looked at Linglong and asked, do you have any needs for spiritual items to aid your cultivation, but the sect cannot provide them? There are. Linglong tilted his little head and replied earnestly, such as the lunar stone, water crystals, the 9 yin flower, acheron fruit, and so on. Linglong did not hold back, nor was there any need to when it came to the items she needed for her cultivation. She could guess what her senior brother was planning on doing and was down for it. Jiang Ming said, then we can just challenge them to a duel directly. We will say that Linglong does not want to be disturbed during her cultivation as an excuse, and ask that the one who wants to challenge her to bet on spiritual items such as lunar stone and water crystal if they want to challenge her. Chang Yiming, Huo Yun, and Zhang Junbao were all puzzled. They had never heard anything about the lunar stone or the acheron fruit. They even thought that the lunar stone was a stone agglomerated from the sun. Zhang Junbao asked, what if they do not have the spiritual items and still demand a duel? Jiang Ming blurted out, slaughter. He made a pause before continuing. If they want to challenge us, then they will have to abide by our rules. If they break the rules, we will just slaughter them. Zhang Junbao asked, but what if they have strong backgrounds? What if the opponents are too strong for her? Can we guarantee that Linglong will emerge victorious for every duel? Jiang Ming replied with a smile. If she loses even once, there won't be anyone who will challenge her anymore. Moreover, our sect master has already stepped into the Primal Spirit realm. With him looking over her from the shadows, it won't be a problem. After some more discussion, the trio left. Gu Hai, who had been sitting through the whole thing in silence, finally spoke up. He advised, don't kill if you don't really have to. We need to be humble. Only then can we go further and live freely. If the enemy already forced their way to our doorsteps, how can we still back down? Do we purposely admit defeat? Jiang Ming shook his head and added, I think junior sister will not agree to this as well. Linglong said, forge ahead with bravery and diligence. Only then can we continuously break through. If we back down and admit defeat because of hardships, it is bad for the spirit. Gu Hai was baffled. But, there is a high chance that we will be facing all the talented geniuses from both the Zhang province and eastern region. How can we keep ourselves emerging victorious throughout the whole thing? Linglong replied, losing in battle and admitting defeat are two different things. Master, you don't have to worry about this. Jiang Ming said, what you should do now is to ask if the sect master has any good spiritual items for the duel. Gu Hai sighed. Really? The two of you? Can't get my words into your heads anymore. He cast a spell into the distance. Not long after, the sect master arrived. Linglong said, "Sect master, what I've formed is the Yang Dao seed and fully mastered all special abilities the sect has to offer. The special abilities I gain from outside are at the brim of full mastery, and I need to duel others to win myself the spiritual items to fully grasp the Yin Sambodha." The sect master was astonished at first, before slowly turning agitated. In the end, he laughed out loud. He went back without hesitation and took a piece of sunstone out of the treasure vault. It was the sect's uncommon treasure, encased in strong fire energy. When the sect master returned to Quyang Peak, he handed over the spiritual item to Gu Hai for safekeeping. Following that, he sternly instructed Linglong, "If you find yourself to be unable to win the fight, do not force yourself. Always remember." Linglong nodded in response. After that, they started tackling each scenario that might come up during the plan. Jiang Ming suggested that for convenience, a mountain gate could be opened on the east side to allow straight access to Quyang Peak. It would help to avoid each challenger from affecting the sect's peacefulness and causing any chaos. The sect master considered significantly before agreeing. Quyang Peak was located at the east of the sect. The sect master went ahead and used his great mana to build a mason staircase that extended out of the mountain. He also made a few pavilions along the way. Following that, he erected a piece of stone tablet outside of the main gate, with the rules of the duel engraved onto it. In Linglong's room, Linglong thought with her arms crossed, "I exposed my phoenix bloodline too early and caused a chain reaction such as Mulei's early death and Baiyu's agonized death, leaving everything in a mess. Well, either way, it's a small thing. I'll just use this opportunity to start collecting some spiritual items that help speed up my comprehension of Yin Sambodha, forming the Yin Dao seed. Once my Yin Dao seed is equally strong to my Yang Dao seed, I will be able to fuse them into the Yin Yang Dao seed and realize a dual cultivation foundation." As Linglong continued pondering, she frowned. "But even though my phoenix bloodline may have caused Mulei's jealousy, how did it implicate Baiyu's death? Through all this chaos, I always felt there's someone up there manipulating the whole thing. And I wonder who killed Baiyu." She was constantly trying to unravel the whole thing, only to realize some things did not make any sense, yet she could not quite find the source of it. Thus she continued contemplating and sat cross-legged on her bed. "Why am I even pondering so much over this? Given my current speed of growth, I have no one to fear. Even if there's any incident throughout this whole thing, I can just activate the spell and expend my latent energy to directly breathe through to the Primal Spirit realm. By then, protecting my senior brother will not be a problem." Meanwhile, Jiang Ming was still on the rooftop. He had to keep watch to avoid any unforeseen accidents. Although he was confident that his junior sister would be safe and sound under his supervision, he could not stop himself from feeling worried. The next day, early in the morning outside of Quyang Peak, a man sat cross-legged on a stone beneath the stone tablet, waiting patiently. That man was Hao Chen, Shouyang Peak's first seat. The 100-feet-tall stone tablet stood there, radiating a strong aura across miles. As morning went by, a group of young people started to be attracted. When they saw the content engraved on the stone tablet, the blue-clad man, who was also the leader of the group, could not help but snicker. Turning the challenge into a duel and betting on these rare spiritual items? How arrogant of the Juyang sect! His words were echoed by others. They began discussing the whole matter. Being poor drives them nuts, I guess. Do they really think just because of the Phoenix bloodline they are invincible and can trample over the generation? How arrogant. It's a small sect, and to think that just because they defeated Zhou Tian, they are capable of racking in profits with this duel? How absurd. When compared all over Zhong province, Zhou Tian doesn't even rank high. Coming over to challenge is just us lowering our standards and giving them some credit. Now, they make it look like it's us trying desperately, asking them to accept the duel instead. Such humiliation. While they were discussing, one of them even went up and tried to smash the engraved stone tablet. A long slashing sound echoed as the first seat Hao Chen opened his eyes. He forced the young man to retreat with just a slash. At the same time he said, "This is our Juyang sect's territory. We make the rules. Come if you comply, leave if you don't. Any attack on the stone tablet signifies waging war against the Juyang sect. I will forgive the first offense, but if there's a second, then prepare for a battle to the death." Seat was undeniably the #1 genius. If he were to be placed in the sacred land, given his talent, he would have a breakthrough to the primal spirit realm, or better yet, to an even higher realm. Even so, he had already reached the pinnacle of the nascent soul realm. At that moment, he was sitting beneath the stone tablet to avoid anybody from creating chaos. "Brother," yelled a blue-clad young man as he waved away the young man who had tried to smash the stone tablet. The man then stepped in the air, pacing toward Hao Chen, clasped his hands and said, "I am Lanju from the Lan clan in Zhong province. We come over to challenge Eastern region's geniuses. Well, I'm here now, yet you all set up such conditions for a duel. Is this not humiliating us?" Hao Chen eased himself at the politeness of the blue-clad young man. He explained, Ever since the defeat of Zhou Tian, there have been challengers coming to challenge her daily, disturbing our training and being a nuisance. We can only do so to decline them. Moreover, a challenge with a wager seems to be fair. This sounds reasonable. Lanju nodded. Following that, he glanced at the engraved stone tablet and frowned. Lunar stone, water crystal, 9 yin flower, acheron fruit, and 9 tranquility water. All these are extreme yin spiritual items. Linglong has the phoenix bloodline, a natural fit for the Tao of fire. Yet today she is asking for these items. Could it be that her Tao of fire has sublimed into the Tao of yang? So she plans to use these wage duels to gain these spiritual items to form a yin Tao seed, and then fuse her yin and yang Tao seeds? He paused before exclaiming such wild ambition, boldness, and confidence. A young man walked over and sounded doubtful. Brother Lan, is that so? The Yin Dao seed hasn't emerged for so many years, and yet she's trying to fuse Yin and Yang Dao seeds? I don't believe it, Lanju said. Neither do I. But sometimes you have no choice but to believe that there is a possibility of a miracle. Following that, he looked at Hao Chen and asked, Brother, were my speculations correct? Hao Chen's face remained expressionless. Lanju wasn't offended because Hao Chen didn't respond. He then said, Brother, you are too indifferent. You are not suitable to be guarding the mountain door, but more toward meditation. If what I said is true, then I will give Linglong a big gift. Rest assured that in Jiang province, my Lan clan as an ancient clan keeps our promises even though we aren't as strong as sacred lands. At that moment, Linglong paced over from the skies and gave a clenched fist bow to Hao Chen. She then stared at Lanju and said bluntly, What big gifts? If you lie to me, I will kill you here and now. Whoosh! Immediately after that, the top of her head started to burst out with an extreme yang aura, formidable as it was, swaying even the skies. She was familiar with the Lan clan. She also knew Lanju was a person with temperament. More importantly, he seemed to be really able to provide her the help. Lanju's pupils shrank as he gasped in astonishment. It's Yang Sambodha. The fire Sambodha itself is already extremely difficult to comprehend. In this world, 99% of the population can only comprehend the branches of the 5 elements Sambodha, yet you manage to comprehend the pure sun essence. Naturally, you are already a level above normal people. I commend you. Even the holy sons and holy daughters from the sacred lands hold no candle against you. But the thing is, aren't you worried that you might attract problems out of people's jealousy? Linglong replied indifferently. Then I'll just kill them. Lanju clenched his hand in respect. Great, listing down all the items you need is to let them know, akin to showing everyone your cards, not concealing anything but showing your ambitious intent. That's really a show of boldness and confidence. Seems you are trying to mold a strong will into yourself. You seem to have some wisdom in you. Where's my big gift? Demanded Linglong. Lanju laughed. These extreme yin spiritual items that you need are all very rare. If you passively wait for them, I'm not sure how long it will take you to collect even one of them. Rather, why not be aggressive about it? Do you mind if we spread the news of your Yang Sambodha and you trying to form a Yin Dao seed? Linglong replied, No, I don't. Lanju said, That's easy then. Anyhow, since I'm already here, I'll have to check your skills. Linglong accepted his challenge as she replied, Come on. At that moment, she extended her body to a height of thousands of meters. Lanju was ecstatic. Above the Kuyang sect, inexplicably he felt a little unhappy and called up his human path records. Name, Lanju race, human gender, male cultivation base, Dao seed realm background. Direct disciple of the secluded Lan clan in Zhong province. The Lan clan is on par with the first-tier sects. Relationship, 15 innate talent, 9 stars. Wind spirit body, status, person of influence in Zhong province. Came to have a look after overhearing about Linglong of the Juyang sect. He knows she is the embodiment of the Phoenix bloodline and that she defeated Zhou Tian. When Jiang Ming read the simple contents, he thought Lanju could possibly reach the extreme path realm with his considerably high 9 stars innate talent. He also shook his head, speechless, when he learned about the Lan clan, which was a clan on par with first-tier sects. Zhong province was without a doubt the center of everything. It had many talents, a handful of sacred lands, and countless forces that anyone coming from the province would be of great background. He raised his head to see his junior sister had already started sparring with the opponent. She defeated Lanju in the glimpse of an eye. Jiang Ming smiled. That's my little girl, truly exceptional. When he took another look at his human path records, he realized that Lanju's status had more content now. Status. He lost his challenge against Linglong. He sent out messages to all the young geniuses in Zhong province, saying that Linglong has formed the Yang Dao seed and is capable of overwhelming those of the same generation. Jiang Ming thought, is he trying to place junior sister against the world? At that moment, he had the thought of killing this person. At the end of the battle, Linglong landed on Kuyang Peak. When she saw Lanju still following her, she couldn't help but frown. Are you not leaving? Lanju said, The champions of the world will be gathering here. Why would I leave? In any case, I've given you my help. Aren't you going to invite me to your mountain peak for a drink? Meanwhile, she stroked the air with her sword with a flick of her wrist. She seemed to be cutting the void in half. Lanju's expression quickly changed and he stopped in his tracks. He gnashed his teeth and still gave it a try. What about the foot of the mountain? Linglong did not reply and went directly up to the mountain peak, back to her senior brother. She sat on the rooftop and chatted with her senior brother. Senior brother, are you unhappy? I feel the kid is thick-skinned. Senior brother, are you worried that we will be chummy together? You only need a glance to see that he is not a good person. Pay less attention to him. Linglong hugged Jiang Ming's arm as she promised. Sure, I will listen to you, senior brother. From now on, no men can come atop the mountain, not even women. Won't that make us seem disrespectful? They are the ones who are disrespectful. But my senior brother is always respectful. At the bottom of the mountain, Lanju landed beside the stone tablet. A member of the Lan clan asked, Brother Lan, you lost just like that? You are someone who can compete with a holy sun, and yet you lost so easily? Lanju shuddered. She's too exceptional. I can't do much. A defeat is a defeat, but she didn't even invite you up the mountain? Lanju cleared his throat as a reply. Brother Lan, since they don't welcome us, let's just leave. I plan on staying here. There's going to be a scene soon. Brother Lan, you aren't thinking of snubbing up to her, are you? Scram, you imbecile. In an inn located in Shui province, a beautiful young lady was surrounded by many handsome men. She suddenly received a message. Linglong, Phoenix bloodline, formed Yangdao seed, defeated Zhou Tian, wagering on duels. The young lady thought, such a peculiar lady. Let's see if I can make her submit. Not long after, the young lady paced away in the air. A young man sat cross-legged atop of a mountain. He grasped onto the incoming message, and his eyes glistened. What an interesting message from Lanju. If this can really gather the geniuses from Zhang province and eastern region, maybe I can try giving them a ranking. Hence, he intended to keep her as his maidservant. Soon, he walked out of the sect, heading toward the Zhuyang sect. Meanwhile, old Tai saw him and followed him. There was a mountain peak on the side of the stone tablet. It had now been used as a welcoming area, also known as the reception peak, for it had gathered a large number of experts in just about 10 days. Even the disciples of the Zhuyang sect had to come over to serve. Linglong, as the master of reception peak, simply entertained them. Hao Chen, the first seat, sat cross-legged in a corner, cultivating. Meanwhile, the sect master was overwatching from afar. On Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming called up his human path records to check on the experts one after another. Name, He Fang, son of prophet. Race, human. Gender, male. Cultivation base, Dao seed realm. Background, contemporary representative of the Yantian sect. Relationship, 45. Innate talent, 10 stars. Violet star. Body, status. He came to Eastern region to collect data about geniuses under the command of his master. After receiving the message from Lanju, he came to meet Linglong. At the same time, he thought of creating a genius ranking board. He is currently assisting Linglong in entertaining guests. Jiang Ming had heard about the Yantian sect. He knew it was another sacred land in Zhang province and was well known among top-notch forces. The sect specialized in divination and fortune-telling. Given its detached status, it generally did not participate in disputes. In addition, each generation had a representative, which was equivalent to a holy son, going around. They would call themselves the son of prophet. Jiang Ming pondered. He's indeed ambitious in creating a genius ranking board. If he really puts his thoughts into action, I bet there'll be a mess. With the presence of countless geniuses from many sacred lands, they would only laugh when they heard each other's names. However, they would definitely compete if they were really ranked. Yang Ming flipped the page. Name, Shi Yao. Race, human. Gender, female. Cultivation base, Dao seed realm. Background, the holy daughter of the Ryu sect in Zhang province. Relationship, 26. Innate talent, 10 stars. Cold moon. Body, status. She came to meet Eastern region's geniuses and to chasten herself. At the same time, she is looking for the legendary immortal treasure. She came because she was attracted by the news of Linglong embodying the Phoenix bloodline but looking for extreme yin items. She also wishes to make Linglong submit to her. Jiang Ming could not help but shake his head as he exclaimed to himself, another person from a sacred land with 10 stars innate talent. He continued murmuring to himself, with her cold moon body, does she also wish to comprehend the Tao of Yin? She wants to make junior sister submit to her? Ha, she's too ambitious. That immortal treasure? Do immortals really exist? In the end, he just shook his head smiling before he went on to the next person. Name, Lin Han. Race, human. Gender, male. Cultivation base, Dao seed realm. Background, holy son of the King Yun sect. Relationship, 9. Innate talent, 10 stars. Mystic ice body. Status, since the death of Holy Sun Baiyu, 2 extreme path experts from the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion came to create chaos by slaughtering thousands of outer court disciples. Although he does not believe that his sect's experts would kill Baiyu, he dares not go out to avoid being killed by old Tai. At the end of the day, the King Yun sect experts were annoyed and fought with them for 32 days before a temporary reconciliation was made. He was delighted at the news that Linglong embodied Phoenix bloodline in the Zhuyang sect and that she had actually managed to comprehend the Tao of Yang. He wanted Linglong to submit to him. Following that, he could utilize her bloodline to transmute his body into the icy fire Taoist body and might even comprehend the yin-yang Tao seed. He left the Qingyun sect with the belief that his sect's experts would protect him from old Tai's attack. Jiang Ming felt a headache at Lin Han's intention, his eyes filled with killing intent, as he thought, previously there were the arrogant Mu Lei and his mother Mu Shuiyun. Now this new holy son also dares to have ill intention toward my junior sister. I wonder if these holy sons and holy daughters are arrogant just because their Qingyun sect is the only sacred land in eastern region. Jiang Ming added Lin Han's name onto his killing list and flipped the page again. Name: Mo Lin, race, human gender, male, cultivation base, Dao seed, realm background, holy son of the Yinmo sect, relationship, minus 15 innate talent, 10 stars, dark devil body, status. The gathering of geniuses in eastern region has formed unspoken rules that no one from the older generation can intervene in the matches among young people. Thus he thought of using this great opportunity to make a public appearance. He wants to see others' reactions and attitudes so that he can get ready for the devil sect's thorough resurgence. Mo Lin had just defeated the 18th Prince of Great Zhou. When he heard from the prince about the specialty of Linglong, he was delighted. Hence he came over. He also wanted to capture her to be his cauldron and steal her bloodline so that he might transmute his body into the light dark body. If it worked, he certainly could become a great holy son of all 6 devil sects. Following that, he could accomplish his dream of becoming the king of kings by uniting all 6 devil sects and making all humans, devils, and demons submit to him. When Jiang Ming read Mo Lin's status information, he grinned. What a ambitious guy. He could not help but despise Mo Lin's ambition to unite the world as he recalled the boastful keyboard warriors in his past life. In fact, Jiang Ming abhorred devil sect. He told himself to kill Mo Lin so that he will realize his great ambition in Hades instead. But when he recalled Mo Lin's intention to capture his junior sister, he changed his mind. He wanted Mo Lin's soul scattered as well. Of course, he wanted to slaughter the Yinmo sect's spies in his Zhuyang sect too. Nonetheless, he needed them to check on Yinmo sect's movement and to be alerted in advance just in case they decided an attack against the Zhuyang sect. Jiang Ming was also curious how Mo Lin could sublime himself and transmute his body into a light dark body. He shuddered as he learned about these geniuses with innate talent of 10 stars. More troublesomely was them having ill intention toward his junior sister. At that moment, Jiang Ming abruptly turned his head. He saw a tall and imposing old man suddenly appear, sitting leisurely on the cane chair next to him. His heart missed a beat. He thought that the old man must be stronger than an expert of the Parades realm because of his ability to cross the defensive formation on Chuyang Peak and make a sudden appearance without his knowing. Jiang Ming prepared the 3-minute Extreme Path experience card given by the system before standing up, tidying up himself, and greeting, "Senior." Meanwhile, he called up the Human Path records. Name: Tai Dan, generally known as Old Tai, race, human gender, male, cultivation base, Extreme Path realm background. One of the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion's Supreme Elders, relationship, 45 innate talent, 10 stars, starburst fire body, status. He was furious when he learned about the death of Holy Sun Baiyu in Eastern Region. He took his explosive hammer to the Qingyun sect and hammered the sect even though he knew the sect might be innocent. He felt slight relief after killing numerous disciples and receiving some compensation as a token of apology because the Qingyun sect, being the strongest in Eastern Region, failed to ensure the safety of his holy son. However, he failed to obtain a top-grade Dao vessel. While secretly investigating the culprit, he continued urging the Qingyun sect for a proper explanation. When he saw the Qingyun sect's holy son, he wanted to capture him, but he was stopped by the Qingyun sect's Extreme Path expert. Thus, he followed after him to the Zhuyang sect instead. Upon arrival, he heard about Linglong, who was embodied with Phoenix bloodline and had comprehended Yang Sambodha. He was delighted. He felt Linglong should be a disciple of his Infinite Alchemy Pavilion because she was no weaker than the contemporary Holy Daughter. Not wanting to lose the opportunity, he came to further understand the situation and find ways to take her back for training. Jiang Ming felt his heart skip a beat when he learned that the old man was an Extreme Path expert from the Infinite Pavilion realm. Fortunately, he knew the old man was not here to take revenge on him. Anyway, when he saw the word haha in the status shown in the system, he thought it was fucking interesting. Still, when he realized the fact that the old man was up to targeting his junior sister, he felt very helpless. At the same time, he showed no expression and pondered, shall I take junior sister away directly, kill him by surprise with the mana-sealing chessboard, or use the 3-minute Extreme Path experience card? Jiang Ming felt surprised but not afraid at the sudden appearance of Old Tai. But he, as a young man, had to be polite by greeting Old Tai. Old Tai friendly replied as he waved, don't mention it, as I come directly without invitation, I'm disturbing you instead. It's my honor that you are here, Jiang Ming said as he sat down. He then asked with confusion, But why don't you go there, where the geniuses are gathering? Can you identify their specialty? No, I can't. I can't even identify my junior sisters, what's more those geniuses. It's normal that you can't. A few of them are top-notch geniuses. They will become very prominent figures in the future. The rest are not bad either. They will be as good as your sect master. Jiang Ming exclaimed, they are so amazing. Old Tai explained, if we are to rate them with the 5 fingers, whereby the best gets 5 fingers, they can get 2 fingers. He suddenly squinted with a smile. You're not bad either. At this young age you are already at the peak of the foundation establishment realm. Jiang Ming humbly replied, thank you, but I'm still far behind when compared to them. Old Tai said mysteriously, do you want to be like one of them? It's very simple. All you need to do is to come to my Infinite Alchemy Pavilion together with your junior sister. You'll definitely become a Primal Spirit expert in the future. Jiang Ming acted as though he was very surprised. Infinite Alchemy Pavilion? Is it the legendary sacred land of Zhong Province? Senior, what's your relationship with Infinite Alchemy Pavilion? Old Tai smiled brightly as he said, I'm an elder there. When you two get there, your junior sister will be placed in a position comparable to the Holy Daughter. Meanwhile, you will be trained as a core disciple. Jiang Ming rubbed his hands. He looked as though he was aspiring and at the same time fidgeted. This is indeed my honor to be selected. A figure approached them before he could finish his sentence. As soon as he arrived, he snorted. Old Tai, how dare you snatch people from my eastern region? He was an old man with white hair, but his face looked like a baby and his eyes were brimming with vigor. He turned to Jiang Ming and said, we have the Qingyun sect as the sacred land in eastern region too. Since we were born and grew up in eastern region, we shouldn't leave easily. If you and your junior sister need better cultivation resources, just come over to my Qingyun sect. I can even make the decision to recognize your junior sister as our holy daughter directly. Old Tai was enraged and growled, King Fengzi, how dare you? We haven't settled our issue yet, and you're now here trying to snatch people away from me. King Fengzi smirked. This is a very different matter. Moreover, we're now at the Zhuyang sect, which is not your territory. You've already come here without invitation. Don't tell me you want to destroy this place and snatch people as well. Old Tai retorted, your Qingyun sect's holy son is out of the sect. But the soul of my holy son is still crying for injustice. Qing Fengzi's face slightly darkened. Jiang Ming was listening silently. Occasionally, he blinked his eyes as though he was truly innocent. While listening to the conversation, he also called up the Human Path records to check on the old man called Qing Fengzi. Name Yang Feng Qing Fengzi. Race human, gender male, cultivation base, extreme path realm background. One of the supreme elders of the Qingyun sect in Eastern Region relationship. 32 innate talent, 10-star status. When Old Tai was making a fuss in the Qingyun sect, he was forced to stop his cultivation to deal with him together with a few other supreme elders. Based on Old Tai's accusation, he conducted an investigation in the sect with the help of various special abilities and Dao vessels, and concluded that the murderer was not a member of the sect. Thus, he shifted his focus of investigation outside of the sect and even utilized all resources the sect had, but to no avail. In the end, he could only attribute it to the Devil Sect's plot. The sect was facing a predicament with various issues occurring simultaneously. Examples were the forced entanglement with the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion, the Bishui sect's invasion, the almost full resurgence of the Yinmo sect, and the Red Mountain Palace's plot. Unexpectedly, he felt that it was an opportunity and was prepared to take advantage of these issues to eradicate all disobedient forces in Eastern Region. Jiang Ming's heart skipped a beat while reading the status. The old man was not merely an extreme path expert but also knew about the Yinmo sect and Red Mountain Palace, and perhaps the situation of the Bishui sect too. The amount of information the old man knew made Jiang Ming admire the power of the Qingyun sect's information network. He also marveled at the old man's confidence in utilizing external forces to control other forces in Eastern Region. Hence, he presumed the Qingyun sect should be capable of handling both the Yinmo sect and Red Mountain Palace. While reading, Jiang Ming did not forget to brew a pot of tea. He meticulously poured 2 cups of tea with his ignorant expression and longing eyes while listening to the duo's conversation. When he served, he politely said, enjoy your tea. Old Tai nodded in approval as he praised, indeed a good boy. Then he took up a cup of tea and had a sip before he sneered at Qing Fengzi. Unlike some people who never invited me for a sip of hot tea since I've come to Eastern Region from afar. Following that, he threw a clay bottle toward Jiang Ming while saying, it's by luck that I receive your hospitality and drink your tea. This is the extreme primal pill for you. Take it after your successful breakthrough to the Golden Core realm. It will help you to go further into the Golden Core's extreme state. Jiang Ming reached out and grabbed it. He appreciated it with an excited expression. Thank you, senior. He then murmured, it's the Golden Core's extreme state that not many disciples of our Zhuyang sect have ever achieved in history. I can't believe that I'm going to be like one of the few geniuses soon. Oh my, I'm so blessed. Nope, it should be the grace of the senior. Old Tai could not help but smile at Jiang Ming's response. Qing Fengzi also took a sip of the tea and said, "All disciples of Eastern region are good and kind. Kid, beware of this old fella. He is here to lure you away. Anyway, I shall give you something in return for your tea." He took out a clay bottle containing a pill and threw it at Jiang Ming. "This is the divine source pill. Take it after you break through to the golden core's extreme state. It will help you to expand your sea of consciousness to break through to the purple mansion realm." Jiang Ming hastily reached out, grabbing the bottle. He was so excited that his neck turned red when he said, "Thank you, senior. Thank you. With these 2 medicinal pills, I can directly reach the purple mansion realm. Gosh, am I dreaming?" His excited expression seemed to carry a hint of holding back his laughter. In fact, he rolled his eyes within himself. They've been too generous to give Extreme Prima pill and Divine Source pill. I wonder whether they'd still be this generous if they learned that I'm the murderer of Infinite Alchemy Pavilion's holy son and that I framed the Qingyun sect, as well as the murderer of Mu Lei and Mu Shuiyun. I think they will strike me to death instead. Jiang Ming meticulously kept those pills before he left to take some spiritual fruits to serve. At the same time, he had the urge to take out the mana-sealing chessboard when they were unaware, wondering if they would be sucked in. In the end, he forcefully suppressed his intention. He took a glance at the mountain peak in the distance and rubbed his head as he asked, "Seniors, there are already many geniuses gathered there, but why aren't they starting their battles yet? Are they not planning to compete with each other while training and refining themselves? Every genius feels they are invincible. At the same time, they are looking for a match to help them grow. That's their main reason for gathering there. The reason they haven't started their battle is that they are waiting for a man," Old Tai replied. At the same time, Qing Fengzi nodded and hints of dignity appeared in his eyes. "Let them wait together? I heard from my junior sister that among them are holy sons and holy daughters. Who's so capable of making them wait patiently?" Jiang Ming asked, amazed. In fact, he was really surprised. Old Tai replied frankly, "Senior brother. The senior brother all of them have acknowledged." The two did not reveal the background of the so-called senior brother. Yang Ming was not in a rush either. He would learn about him from his human path records later when the senior brother got here. He gradually calmed down from the uneasiness and nervousness he had at the start. Old Tai realized the changes in Jiang Ming and asked with a smile, "Are you no longer afraid? Since both of you are the seniors of sacred lands and also kind-hearted, you won't bully a kid like me. Thus, I'm no longer that nervous," Jiang Ming replied with an innocent smile. "Pretty good mindfulness of yours," Qing Fengzi complimented. Yang Ming smiled in response before he abruptly asked seriously, "Seniors, I know the innate talent of my junior sister is incredible, but you wouldn't take her away by force, would you? As an upright man, I definitely won't use force on the younger generation. Moreover, even though your junior sister has good innate talent, it's merely good for people like us," said Old Tai squarely. King Fengzi nodded. "Yes, kid, there are too many highly gifted prodigies in this world. But how many succeeded? The number is extremely low because most of them failed. Therefore, most of the time we'd only appreciate those gifted prodigies, unwilling to see their talents being buried underground. In this case, what type of innate talent would truly move people like you?" Jiang Ming asked. "Immortal fetus." The two gave the same answer. "What's the immortal fetus?" At that moment, none of them replied. Instead, they suddenly looked toward the southwest. A young man could be seen pacing over. He stepped into darkness while his head radiated rays of light. Each stride he took brought him 1,000 miles away. He looked as if he was the son of God in the wind. In just a short moment, he had arrived at the outer region of Kuyang Peak. He looked like an outstanding gentleman in his white robe with his sleeves fluttering. He was surrounded by black and white streams of lights with a gentle smile on his face. As soon as he stopped, he bowed toward the two old men. Both Old Tai and Qing Fengzi nodded in return. Following that, the young man cast a smile at Jiang Ming before heading to Reception Peak. At that moment, Old Tai introduced, "He's the senior brother. Nobody should look down on him even though his cultivation base is currently pretty low. He's an immortal fetus. Provided he survives, he can easily reach our level." King Fengzi sighed. Old Tai nodded. Whenever such a person appeared in the past, they'd often have great fortune and great changes in life. Perhaps the resurgence of all 6 devil sects is his misfortune. Nevertheless, due to his very strong background, the devil sects may refrain from attacking him. King Fengzi shook his head in disagreement. "That's difficult to say. The 6 devil sects are incredibly mysterious and unscrupulous. Perhaps, a devil is currently watching, ready to capture to refine him, turn him into a doppelganger, or absorb his fortune. I'm afraid that's what you have in mind." "Huh? Do I have to?" "I think that's what you have in your mind. Given your Infinite Alchemy Pavilion skills, I think you can create an unprecedented item by using an immortal fetus as a material. Can you withstand the temptation?" "Fuck off. I'm absolutely a righteous man. I don't have such nasty thoughts as you." The duo bickered. If they were not on Kuyang Peak, they might fling their clothes, initiating a fair and intense battle. On Reception Peak, many geniuses came out welcoming the white-clad young man. He clenched his fist and greeted apologetically, "Ladies and gentlemen, I heard that you all are meeting here for a battle of geniuses. I was looking forward to it, so I contacted the Son of Prophet and asked you all to wait. Thank you for your willingness to wait." The Son of Prophet laughed. "Senior brother, since you're here in Eastern region, leaving you out would be a great sin. Moreover, we also wish to witness your peerless talent." The others agreed. Meanwhile, Linglong was seen quietly standing afar. At that moment, a touch of coldness flashed across her eyes, but she immediately concealed it. On Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming called out the human path records to check on this man, the so-called senior brother. Name: TNC race. Immortal gender: male. Cultivation base: Dao seed realm. Background: contemporary senior brother of the Tianyuan school. Chenguang immortal mansion. Relationship: 12 innate talent. Immortal fetus, a reincarnated wisp of immortal soul. Status: the broken immortal soul, which carried the golden heavenly path and transformed into an immortal fetus, descended to the earthly world with a mission. Once the immortal soul awakens and his memory is restored, he will certainly set off a great change. Currently cultivating in the Tianyuan school, he could improve himself quickly because he had amazing talent, a strong physique, and invincible special abilities. He was the best among geniuses in the school, hence the most promising to become invincible in his generation. He had his breakthrough to the 9th stage of the Golden Core realm when he was 20 years old, comprehended Light Sambodha and Dark Sambodha when he was 25 and 30 respectively, and managed to form the Light Dao Seed and Dark Dao Seed 2 years later. He was ambitious to fuse both Light Dao Seed and Dark Dao Seed, but to no avail. The news of Holy Sun Baiyu's death gave rise to much discussion in Zhang province. Thus he thought of coming to Eastern region for an earthly cultivation, to find a way to fuse the light and dark Dao seeds. He also heard Linglong from the Zhuyang sect had the Phoenix bloodline and had comprehended Yang Sambodha and formed the Yang Dao seed. He presumed Linglong intended to fuse the Yin and Yang Dao seeds because she was looking for Yin-related items. Hence he came with a wish of having a light bulb moment. Jiang Ming was bewildered by TNC's race. He never thought that immortals could be categorized as a race. He had also heard about the Tianyuan school. It was the oldest school, no weaker than any sacred lands. Still, nobody knew how strong its foundation was. He pondered on the innate talent of immortal fetus, and immortal soul of reincarnation. He felt bizarre to see the term reincarnation. Jiang Ming felt a headache when he saw TNC had a background related to the Chenguang immortal mansion and his status, which stated carried the golden heavenly path, descended to the earthly world with a mission. Besides, he realized that the system gave TNC a relatively detailed introduction. TNC was indeed amazing. After all, he was capable of comprehending 2 strong Sambodhas, the Light Sambodha and Dark Sambodha, before 30 years old. Of course, Jiang Ming thought that he was still incomparable to his junior sister, let alone himself. He sighed to himself. It should be quite easy for TNC to fuse the light and dark Dao seeds. After all, with an immortal fetus he should be strong in both physique and comprehension. Fuck. Before I can be invincible in the human world, this immortal had to make his appearance. He knew a strong guardian must be protecting Tianxi. He also realized that his junior sister, Tianxi, and he all had unrated immortal innate talent. He wondered whether immortal innate talent was equally strong, but because he could not prove it for the time being, he could only suppress it. Yang Ming thought, fortunately, he's not really after junior sister. He was more or less relieved. He also decided that he would not descend the mountain whenever possible in the future. Jiang Ming felt he had learned something new today. The 2 men beside him were his enemies, and they were stronger than him. If each of them knew the real situation, they would kill him without any hesitation. However, they were talking happily and even gave him gifts. There were several geniuses with 10-star innate talent on Reception Peak. Some of them were immortal fetuses as well. Yang Ming initially thought he would need to wait for at least 100 years before he could see such a scene. However, it was happening before him now. Jiang Ming even had an impulse to see what would happen if he killed all of the people here. Of course, it was just an evil thought messing with his brain. It's about to start. Old Tai stood up and looked toward Reception Peak. This is so exciting. It's understandable. After all, you wouldn't be able to see something like this in 100 years, Qing Fengzi said as he nodded. The fight between geniuses was not all about who was stronger, but it was also about who had more luck. It's such a shame that you're too weak. Old Tai shook his head after he took a look at Jiang Ming. For us, they're just our juniors, but for you, you might not even be able to see their movements. It's fine, I'm here for the show only, Jiang Ming replied, offering him a grin. In the meantime, on the peak next to Reception Peak, there were a dozen people there. All of them were the top martial artists in the Zhuyang sect. Even Gu Hai was there as well. I only realize how weak our disciples are after seeing them, Yin Yue lamented. I can feel that those young people can defeat me, not to mention those holy sons and holy daughters. Well, they're the geniuses from Zhang province and eastern region. Gu Hai smiled. Besides, Linglong is not any weaker than them. You're right, given our Zhuyang sect's condition and resources, it's really fortunate that we could have such an extraordinary genius. Yin Yue smiled. Look over there, do you know those two fellows on Chuyang Peak? Nope, I don't know them, Gu Hai replied as he shook his head. Then, he frowned and continued. Although nothing seems to have changed on Chuyang Peak, it's guarded by a formation. The fact that they could come here without any problem shows they are martial artists beyond the Primal Spirit realm. Are you not going back to check on them? Nope. Definitely not. I assume they're here to watch the battle between the geniuses, so it would be bad if I went back and disturbed them. If they harbor any malicious intent, there's nothing I can do even if I go there. Well, I guess you're right. Both of them ended their conversation and looked toward Reception Peak. The atmosphere there had become even livelier. Today, not only all geniuses from Zhong Province and Eastern region are gathered here, but Senior Brother is here with us as well. It brings this self-organized gathering to a higher level, and it can be called the battle between the proud children, said a young man in a blue robe. After he had greeted the crowd, he went up to Zi Linglong and continued, I'll do the honors and start the first battle. I, Tan Hao from Zhong Province, challenge Zi Linglong to a battle. So what's your bet? Zi Linglong said plainly. Bet? Tan Hao was stunned for a moment before saying seriously, the objective of this event is to improve our skills, as well as to exchange experience regarding our cultivation methods. It will be remembered for ages. Don't you think it's a little bit inappropriate to talk about bets at a grand event like this one? Zi Linglong lifted her head and glanced at the man. Then, she said, I never enjoyed fighting. However, each and every one of you came to the Zhuyang sect and challenged me to a battle. The Zhuyang sect doesn't dare to go against you because of your background, so I had no other choice but to stop my cultivation and accept your challenges. If you want to fight me, I have a condition. If you accept it, then I'll fight you. If you refuse to accept it, then keep your mouth shut and sit down. She paused for a moment and added, the Zhuyang sect doesn't have anything better to offer than the Sunstone. What I need are extreme yin objects, and I've already written them down on the stone tablet. She closed her eyes upon saying that. Tan Hao's face sank. Some people's faces were livid with rage, while others were chuckling. Tianxi took a step forward and said gently, Junior Sister Linglong, this is a grand event between the geniuses. Each and every one of us here has mastered our own cultivation method. Besides, this is a great opportunity for us to share our knowledge and to grow together, so why should we sacrifice the big for the small? Zi Linglong said without opening her eyes, if that's all that you want, then go somewhere else. Tianxi's eyebrows twitched as his face turned red with embarrassment. How dare you? Tan Hao shouted. How dare you talk like that to my eldest senior brother? Clank, he stretched his arm out, and a sword appeared in his hand. At that moment the ground shook, and the aura around him changed. He seemed to have become one with Reception Peak, and he could draw the power from the ground around him. He's your eldest senior brother, not mine, Zi Linglong said as she opened her eyes. Her gaze was sharp as lighting, and she said, if you're not accepting the bet, then get lost. I'm going to kill you today. Tan Hao charged at Zi Linglong. Amongst the crowd, regardless of Shi Yao, the holy daughter of the Ryu sect, or the son of prophet from the Yantian sect, even Mo Lin, the holy son of the Yinmo sect, remained silent. They had no intention of stopping Tan Hao. Why must we fight each other? Tianxi sighed. Lin Han, the holy son of the Qingyun sect, glanced at him coldly and smirked. In the meantime, Zi Linglong summoned a crimson sword into her hand. She shattered Tan Hao's sword energy in an instant, and her sword energy kept traveling forward until it cut off her opponent's left arm. After that, she delivered a palm strike at him and sent him flying away. As the host of the event, I'll spare his life this time. However, if there is another person who acts like him, I'll show them no mercy. Zi Linglong stabbed her sword beside her and glanced around at the people. If you don't agree with my condition, then leave. After that, she closed her eyes again. Suddenly, Tan Hao's angry voice belted out from the distance. How dare you cut my arm off, Zi Linglong? I'm going to kill you. He was furious, and his killing intent was so thick the sky around him had changed. Swoosh! Zi Linglong appeared right before him without giving him any moment to react. She stared at him icily and crushed Tan Hao's special ability in one strike. She then conjured up an invisible rope to entangle Tan Hao with the power of the universe. Clank, her sword energy glowed. Carrying the power that could split the sky, she slashed at Tan Hao, cutting him in half. After that, she turned around and left. A moment later, a ray of light came out of Tan Hao's stiffened body. His body was split into two, and he plunged into the ground below. Tan Hao was dead. It had happened so fast that Tianxi still could not come around to his senses even after Tan Hao was dead. Zi Linglong returned to her seat and stabbed her sword in the ground beside her. My memory serves me well. Tan Hao is a descendant from a second-rated family in Zhong Province. The strongest of his family is in the Primal Spirit realm, yet he has the nerves to act like an S-hole here. He deserved to die, she thought. Nobody cared about Tan Hao's death. Well done, Linglong. Shi Yao walked across the air with a smile. Stars were glowing around her, which made her look ethereally pretty. She waved her hand, and a moon cloud flower appeared before her. She gave it to Linglong and said, "Although this flower is not an extreme yin object, it's still a rare yin spiritual item. I have no use of it anymore, so I'm giving it to you as a gift." Linglong took a look at the moon cloud flower in front of her, and then turned to Yao. A smile blossomed across her face as she said, "Thank you, senior sister. After you." She grabbed the sword with her hand and flew into the sky. "It's my pleasure." Yan followed after Linglong. Above the cloud, the wind howled. Both Linglong and Yao were standing opposite each other. The aura they exuded was so powerful it seemed as if a barrier had appeared around them, causing the wind to be repelled 100 meters away. "I have the cold moon body, and my greatest wish is to comprehend the Tao of extreme yin, but it's a near impossible feat," Yao said. Snowflakes began to appear on her left and ripples on her right. There were stars on top of her head, and a crescent moon was taking shape behind her back. She looked just like a goddess from heaven. "I've comprehended the frost Sambodha, the moon Sambodha, the stellar Sambodha, and the water Sambodha. Even though I have formed the corresponding Tao seeds, I didn't stop. I want to break the boundary and ascend to a higher level, yet I have no clue how to do it. After seeing that you've comprehended that Tao of Yang, which happens to be my weakness, I'm thinking of borrowing your hands to push me to the limit so that I can realize my potential. I'm comprehending the Tao of extreme yin as well, and this is a good opportunity for both of us to share our knowledge." Linglong did not use her weapon, yet there were different kinds of fires such as the wood fire, the stone fire, the thunder fire, and the hell fire behind her back. They started the fight without saying anything. Freezing ice and blazing fire were raging through the sky. The exchange between the two was not intense, but rather it was quite entertaining. They performed all sorts of special abilities and Tao rhythms that they knew. On top of that, both were stunningly gorgeous, and the way they moved in the sky gave people the impression they were dancing. Therefore, it was difficult for people to look at them without being immersed in them. On Shuyang Peak, Jiang Ming and the other two felt proud of Linglong after seeing her slaying Tan Hao and fighting toe-to-toe with Yao. Linglong's so young, yet she has already ascended into the Tao seed realm. Not only that, but she has also comprehended the Tao of Yang and can hold herself against Yao, a holy daughter. She's truly exceptional, and I can say that she's even better than TNC. Old Tai said, his eyes glowing with delight and admiration. "Judging from her actions and her words, I can see that she's a determined and firm-minded young woman. It's going to be very hard to convince her to join the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion." "Yeah, you're right," King Fengzi added. "At her current level, unless those old monsters come out of their seclusion, she can go wherever she wishes. Besides, she has a firm mind, so she will not abandon her sect." He paused for a moment before continuing. "It's widely recognized that Tianxi is an immortal fetus. Upon his birth, an anomaly occurred. He contains an immense amount of power, and he's a force to be reckoned with. Yet even a person as great as him pales in comparison with Linglong. Generally speaking, an immature young girl like her shouldn't be able to have such a great achievement. I wonder how she did it. Have you forgotten that she has the Phoenix bloodline?" Old Tai chimed in. "I can sense the massive and terrifying firepower in her. Even I couldn't help but feel a chill down my spine. Perhaps she is the direct descendant of a human and phoenix, so she has inherited the knowledge through her bloodline. After all, she can control fire with a shocking degree of precision. There aren't many of them that can rival this special ability in the Infinite Alchemy Pavilion. Therefore, I'm almost certain that she inherited the ability through her bloodline." Jiang Ming, who was sitting beside Old Tai, raised his brows when he heard what he said. He knew his junior sister was a human, but at the same time he felt everything Old Tai said made sense. The fight lasted for a long while, and it ended with Yao's defeat. She gracefully accepted her defeat. In the next few days, many people came to challenge Linglong. However, none of them behaved like Tan Hao. All of them had brought some extreme yin objects with them, and they all were defeated by Linglong. This was very shocking, as nobody expected that Linglong, who came from a second-rate sect, would be this powerful. The weakest opponent she came across was a genius as well, while the others were holy sons or holy daughters. It was truly shocking that she could defeat all of them. For example, Lin Han was best known for his mystic ice body. He wielded the power of ice that could freeze everything, and he had a powerful and terrifying physical body. As the holy son of the Qingyun sect, he was a powerful being, yet he was defeated by Linglong. Another example would be Mo Lin. He activated Dark Devil body right off the bat and revealed himself as the holy son of the Yinmo sect. Although many people were shocked, none of them went after him. He shared the same fate as Lin Han and got defeated by Linglong. More and more people were coming to Reception Peak. Even Zhou Tian, the 18th prince of the Great Zhou dynasty, had come as well. Unfortunately, Linglong made quick work of all of them. The only one who hadn't challenged Linglong was TNC. "Here's an extreme yin black water stone. It's an extreme yin precious item. I'll give it to you as a gift, junior sister Linglong." TNC came forward and flipped his palm upward. A silver crystal stone appeared on his palm. For a moment, chilly and eerie energy filled the air and froze the Akasa. No! Linglong declined, and her aura surged forward like an unsheathed sword. Everyone in the surroundings could sense her terrifying aura and her confidence. After all, she had defeated multiple geniuses in a row, and it was only right and natural for her to be so confident with herself. This is a bet, Linglong said as she flew into the sky. After you. All right then. TNC threw the extreme yin black waterstone next to the sunstone. As soon as he finished talking, darkness began to gather around his feet while a halo of light appeared on top of his head as he slowly rose into the air. Once he stood in front of Linglong, he said, I never expected that I would run into a genius like you before I came to Eastern Region. I'm sure this will be a fun match. Let's start now. Linglong summoned her sword. It was a crimson Dao sword. Here I come, Tianxi said as he frowned. Boom! An explosion echoed, signaling the fight had started. This time, everyone fixed their eyes on the match. Tianxi had defeated most of the geniuses in Zhong province. He was widely recognized as the senior brother, and he was abnormally strong. He was now facing off a new rising star who had proved herself to be a formidable opponent. Everyone was wondering who would be the winner of this match in the end. As expected of the immortal fetus, casting those special abilities is a piece of cake for him. He can defeat a martial artist in the nascent soul realm and can fight toe-to-toe with a martial artist in the primal spirit realm, exclaimed old Tai. And he hasn't gone all out yet. Yeah, this isn't his limit yet. King Fengzi nodded. At the same time, it shows how powerful Linglong is. Remarkable. She's only in her teenage years, yet she's already this powerful, old Tai exclaimed again. Suddenly his eyes gleamed and he shouted, Look, he's going to unleash the power of an immortal fetus. Maybe this is our chance. King Fengzi's eyes lit up. After that, both activated their divine eyes as they attempted to peer into the true mysteries of the immortal fetus. Rumble! Suddenly the sky trembled, and multiple rays of light rained down. They then saw Tianxi slowly descending from the sky while divine light gathered around him. A divine voice sounded out of his body, and an illusory door that seemed to be able to communicate with the immortal realm and bring down the power of creation had appeared behind him. His aura had surged to a shocking degree as well. He could amass the power of the universe in his palm with a single wave of his hand. The sky seemed to have fallen, causing the people below to have a hard time breathing while they stared at him in shock. Terrific! The sect master of the Juyang sect exclaimed when he sensed the power from the Akasa. Is it really the power of a martial artist in the Dao Seed realm? Not even I have the confidence that I can stop it. Gu Hai and the others were taken aback as well. However, when they saw the flame behind Linglong had turned into a phoenix and intercepted the attack, their expression changed again. Their eyes glowed with astonishment. While watching the fight intently, Jiang Ming thought, as expected of an immortal fetus, he's truly powerful and I doubt I can kill him in his current state. Rumble! The air was vibrating and the sun dimmed. Immortals from the past, come forth and share with me your power. Tianxi chanted the incantation. He pointed one of his palms upward while the other downward. He then clapped his palms together, and light began to descend from above while darkness rose from below. Light and dark barrier. He had created a domain around them. Junior sister Linglong, this is my ultimate skill, the combination of light and darkness. Once the barrier is formed, everything within it will be sealed away, said TNC. Unexpectedly, his expression changed before he could heave a sigh of relief. Screech. The screech of the phoenix reverberated across the sky, and it reminded him of a legend. When a phoenix screeched, all birds would submit to it. In the next second, Linglong created a phoenix talon with her hand and shattered the barrier. She then stepped on TNC's face and kicked him down to the ground.